Monday in the month of May, which means it's Memorial Day, a day to honor the brave men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice for their country while serving in the United States military. Now, many Americans will spend today with friends and family at cookouts and enjoying the start of summer. But we must not forget those who gave their all, because the freedom we enjoy each and every day is not free and came at a great cost. It's the Orioles on Masson today from Miller Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's the Orioles and the Milwaukee Brewers. Today it's the opening game in this three-game interleague series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter, Mike Bordick in a moment. And today, as we celebrate Memorial Day, let's take a moment to reflect and thank all of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we can maintain the freedoms that we enjoy. Now, the Orioles come into Milwaukee to begin a 10-game road trip, and they're coming off a huge win at home yesterday against the Indians. And after that 9-0 loss on Saturday night, the Orioles needed somebody to step up and become the stopper, and Miguel Gonzalez did that. And if you look back at Miguel's season, he quietly has had an outstanding season. His first start in Detroit, he got knocked out in the fourth inning, 7 earned runs allowed, but in his last 8 starts, he's 3-2 with a very credible ERA of 3.30. 3 wins on the year for Miguel, and 2 have followed Orioles losses. And Mike Bordick, the Orioles needed a good, outstanding start yesterday. They got that from Miguel. He survived the shaky first inning and then really settled in for the Birds.
Well, he has been one of their most consistent starters, so do not underestimate the value of Miguel Gonzalez. 8 consecutive starts with 3 runs or fewer given up, so he is giving his team a chance. But in his last outing, his last start yesterday, he got in trouble early. Runners on base, sacrifice fly. A lot of damage could have been done. He gets in a pop-up, sure, 1 run there, but there's still runners on base in the ball game. So poised and confident up there. He does give up another sacrifice fly, though. Potentially could have been a huge inning. He's lucky he really got through there, but that's it. 2 runs is all he gave up in the ball game. He settled in and had great command of his stuff. Working the edges there, a beautiful fastball away to get a strikeout looking here, top of the zone, split finger to get Nick Swisher, who was a big-time clutch hitter for the Indians. Great command throughout the game. Nasty split finger down in the zone there. And another big strikeout here with a fastball away looking. So when Miguel Gonzalez settles in, he can be a very dominating pitcher. The Orioles needed that in yesterday's ball game, and he answered.
Now today here in Milwaukee, the Birds will send their ace Chris Tillman to the mound. And in his last 2 starts, they could not have been more different.
Yeah, really. I mean, a complete game shutout against Kansas City back on May 16th. 9 strong innings, no runs, 3 strikeouts. His first career shutout. And then his next start, just 1 inning pitch, 6 earned runs, 1 strikeout. That was his second shortest career outing. Now, Tillman, he has been kind of a man of 2 worlds here this season. 2 different starts. He's either really good or really bad. Well, that Kansas City start, he was on his game. Elevated fastball there. Nasty breaking ball down in the zone. He can spin a breaking ball as well as anybody in the game. There, another live fastball riding to the top of the zone. All those strikeout pitches are set up by command in the strike zone, and that has been a problem for him. If his high walks are high throughout a ball game, he's going to have problems getting deep in the game. If he has command of his pitches and attacks the strike zone, he's going to have a successful outing.
So today here in Milwaukee, a beautiful day. The roof is open. Opening game of this 3-game series. When we come back, we'll visit with the newest Oriole, Nick Hundley. By Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. It is a gorgeous day in Milwaukee as the Orioles and Brewers open up this series, and today will be the Orioles' debut of Nick Hundley, acquired from San Diego on Saturday for left-handed pitcher Troy Patton. So needless to say, as we chatted with Nick Hundley, the last 48 hours have been a whirlwind.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy, but in this business, is part of the game. It's an exciting time for me and my family to come join a team like the Orioles and the organization, and I'm excited to be here.
Were you surprised, since you were such a big part of the Padres organization, that they did move you?
It comes time when people want to go in different directions, and those decisions are above me. So it's just a great opportunity now. No looking back, and I appreciate my time as a Padre, but I'm an Oriole now.
Now, last year you had a unique opportunity. The Orioles had a home-and-home with San Diego. Now, you're coming in from the outside. What are the impressions out there of what the Orioles are trying to build here?
Yeah, I mean, just immense talent on this roster. Built, got a lot of young, really good players. Great lineup, good arms. You got to come to work and bring your A game to beat them from the outside. So it's exciting to be joining a team like this.
All right, you're about a third of the way into the season, and now you have to learn 12 new pitchers. We saw yesterday you spent quite a bit of the day with Matt Wieters. How much help has Matt been already since you joined the team?
Oh, he's been great. I bugged him for about 3 or 4 innings yesterday. Talked to pretty much all the guys yesterday. It was good to get into town, so I didn't have to try to do that today. So, have the day to kind of catch my breath was huge.
Now, when you're out there today and Chris Tillman's on the mound, will this be his game that he calls, or will you guide him along and hope that you understand what he likes to do in certain situations?
Yeah, it's my job to get comfortable with him, not his job to get comfortable with me. So it's his game. He's got the ball. I'm there to facilitate that for him, to make him as comfortable as he can be, to put him in great situations to be successful. And, that's my job going about the work today.
Is it a bigger challenge joining a team this far into the year?
Oh, it's the first time I've ever been traded. So I came up with the organization. I was with the Padres for the last 7 years. So I wish I could answer that a little differently, but I'm not sure.
All right, we know you can hit a little bit and hit some home runs. Tell the fans what type of a player Nick Hundley is and what kind of a game you bring to the field.
Hopefully I go out and produce. I love playing. I hope the passion for the game that I have is something that's evident to the fans. I'm going to go play hard every day. Hopefully drive some runs in, throw some guys out, and call a good game. But first and foremost, I got to do a great job for this pitching staff and continue the tradition of great Oriole catchers that has been laid out before me, and obviously follow those guys.
And you come from the NL West, which is very competitive. Now you're in the most competitive division. As a competitor, what's that like? Oh,
it's exciting. The NL West is great, a lot of good teams. But looking from afar, you see the teams in the NL East, the AL East, just getting after each other all year long, and dogfights and battles and 4 or 5 hour games, and you want to be part of that. So it's a blessing to be here.
Well, Nick Hundley is in the lineup today, and he is absolutely thrilled to be an Oriole, as the Orioles will send Hundley into the game today, and he will catch Chris Tillman. Let's get a look at our train game time temperature. Visit trainsearch.com to find your local train comfort specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. 78 degrees, slight breeze out of the southwest, and 61% humidity. Mostly cloudy skies, but the sun continues to try to peek through. So it's the opening game of this 3-game series. Here's the Orioles lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. Markakis, Machado, and Jones. How about the month of May that Adam is enjoying, including 5 home runs? Cruz in left and Pierce at first base. Hardy, Hundley, Scope, and Chris Tillman will pitch and bat ninth.
And here's a look at Kyle Loesch's pitch arsenal this season. 42% fastballs. He's got a breaking ball. He uses 45%. Now it's a slider and a curveball. And the changeup he'll mix in as well at 13%. So a true 4-pitch mix. And he is a veteran arm that knows how to use them. This season off to a fabulous start. In his 10 starts, 6-1 record with a 2.67 earned run average. Very solid numbers there. 54 strikeouts, just 13 walks. So command of all of his pitches, does not let walks hurt him. Take a look at the opponent batting average, just 230. Lefties up to 275, but righties 196. He likes to work his two-seam fastball on the outside corner of the righties and mix in that slider as well.
Well, he has been consistent. There's no doubt about that. 3 runs or less in all 10 of his starts on the year. And we are underway as Markakis fouls it back. Nick comes into this game 0 for his last 9, hitless in the past 2 games. He has gone hitless in 3 consecutive games only once all year. That was May 12th through the 14th. So you would expect Markakis to break out here today.
And Nick's been so consistent all season long, especially moving to the top of the order. Great numbers there, hitting well over 300. High on base percentage. Good eye, and we've talked about his ability to use the whole field.
Left field, Chris Davis back on it. He has a play, and he's got it for the out. And one away here in the Oriole first.
Well, let's take a look at the Brewers defense behind Los this afternoon. That's Chris Davis with a K out in left field. Gomez, one of the most exciting baseball players in the game today, roving center field. Ryan Braun over in right. Segura at short. Jeanette at second base with Mark Reynolds, former Oriole, over at third base. Lyle Overbay, the veteran, playing first. And LaCroix behind the plate. Very solid defensive catcher and putting up some offensive numbers as well.
Well, here's Manny Machado, who comes in red hot, and he got through the game yesterday. Sat out a couple of days with the tight groin, but everything is a-okay, and he'll take low 1-0. See both the Orioles and the Brewers, as are all Major League Baseball teams today, wearing the military style uniforms with the camouflage hats and the camouflage lettering on the uniforms. And a called strike.
LaCroix, one of the better catchers in the game at framing. That pitch appeared to be down, but really locked it in, brought it up to the zone, gave the umpire a good look at it, and got the call.
And a weak ground ball to first. Overbay will flip to Loesch, who gets to the bag, and 2 quick outs. Well, of course, the Brewers at one time and for a long time an American League team, so they've seen the Orioles quite a bit. Now a National League Central team, and the Orioles leading the all-time series 228 to 164 and 1 tie. They have not met since June 22nd of 2008. That was an interleague series. See Steve Pearce, nice numbers against Milwaukee, as does Delman Young. Pearce is in the lineup. Young will come off the bench. In fact, Mike Bordick has fond memories of Milwaukee. It was in 1997, his first year as an Oriole, where the Orioles completed the regular season here and then went to Seattle to begin the playoffs.
Right. Yes, yes.
Adam Jones takes ball 1.
They always had very good teams here in Milwaukee. Some incredible players. Robin Yount, Paul Molitor. Some great history here in Milwaukee. I think they're all pretty happy about this new stadium, though. The old Coliseum that they had, or what did they call that?
County Stadium.
County Stadium, yeah. Oh, that was a tough field.
It was not as old as the Coliseum.
No. It seemed it, though.
And Miller Park, a beautiful facility. And that one bounces into Adam Jones. Kyle Loesch, now 35 years old. He's in his 14th big league season. He was drafted originally by the Cubs back in 1996. And he has been around, closing in on 400 career games pitched. And Jones has a base hit, so Adam stays hot. He hit it against the shift, as well as Adam hits the ball to right field. Kind of surprised to see all 3 infielders on the other side of the bag. So a 2-out base hit, and that gets yet another hot hitter to the plate.
Boy, Nelson Cruz has actually been hot all year long. 16 home runs. That's the most in the majors this season. He is not missing mistakes, and he's on another pretty good streak right now. 6-game hitting streak for Nelson Cruz.
Well, Nelly comes in at 295. And a swing and a miss. And Mike, how about this power surge? He has taken over the league lead in both home runs and RBIs.
Yeah, pretty impressive since May 14th. 6 home runs, that's second, but RBIs, what great production. 14, that's first. Total bases 37, that's tied for first. And that OPS right up there at 1.280. Impressive power numbers.
Curveball snaps in there for a strike.
Well, Loesch, the veteran pitcher, you talk about his time, his service time, but he has really learned how to pitch. He keeps hitters guessing.
Well, a 3-pitch strikeout of Nelson Cruz, and that ends the Orioles first. A base hit, a man left, bottom of the first coming up. Chris Tillman going to work. Welcome everybody who is watching today from Ellicott City, Maryland, and Howard County, all part of Birdland, a beautiful Ellicott City, and a very popular suburb outside of downtown Baltimore. And here's the Brewers lineup for today: Segura, Braun, and Lucroy, with Carlos Gomez red hot batting cleanup now. How about 10 home runs and 26 RBIs? Reynolds, Jeanette, and Davis with Overbay at first, and Kyle Loesch pitching and batting ninth.
And here's a look at Chris Tillman's pitch arsenal this season. 52% fastballs, 35% breaking balls, and the 13% changeups. Well, it all comes down to command with all of those offerings for Chris Tillman. There's a look at his numbers this season. The 4-2 record, 4.21 earned run average, really got ballooned after that last start. 6 earned runs in just that inning of work. Opponents hitting 247 overall. Lefties 269, the righties down to 218.
And here is Gene Segura, who is batting leadoff for a 5th consecutive game. And Tillman misses high, 1-0.
Well, Segura, like so many of the Brewers hitters, very aggressive at the plate. Not many of these guys like to walk. LaCroix, very patient hitter and good numbers overall, but it is one of the most aggressive teams, much like the Orioles offensively, not afraid to take their hacks.
Well, Segura, 13 out of his last 41. He has walked only 6 times on the year. Ron Renicky in his 4th season as the Brewers manager. And Tillman misses high as Segura shows bunt. And there is Nick Hundley, the newest Oriole, making his debut.
Well, one thing that the Orioles do is prepare as well as any team I've seen, and I'm sure they have taken their time to help prepare. Nick Hundley behind the plate. Of course, Matt Wieters helping out so much, and Clevenger. Catching coach John Russell, certainly very knowledgeable, and is going to help him along the way. Understanding the pitchers, that's going to be the hardest adjustment after not catching, pitchers like Chris Tillman and the rest of the staff. So just getting used to their arms, what they want to do throughout a ball game, and there will be constant communication throughout the game. When he goes back in the dugout, just how to set up hitters and what is expected.
And the 2-2 is hit down the line for a base hit. It did tip the glove of Steve Pearce. You don't expect Segura to go that way. He has great speed. He's thinking 3, and he's going to make it standing. That ball went all the way down into the corner. A real good approach there, Mike. He just went with it and found the perfect spot.
Well, it was really a great 2-strike swing here. You see Chris Tillman working up and away consistently, but this breaking ball just hanging up there. Typical Chris Tillman breaking ball will get spiked down low and get some swing and misses, but Segura stays on it, and he drives it down the right field line. It was a good effort by Pearce just off the glove, but he coasts in the third base for the leadoff triple.
So his second on the year. Milwaukee with a big chance now to get an early lead as Segura triples. And here is Ryan Braun, who is batting in the number 2 spot for a 3rd consecutive game. He is, for the most part, since he emerged as a star player, has been the number 3 hitter. And he lifts it to right field, and that's a base hit. Markakis over to cut it off. Braun is thinking 2, and he's going to be in with a double. So a triple, now a double, both the opposite way, and Milwaukee has a quick lead.
I don't know that he wanted to go the opposite way. Aggressive on a Chris Tillman fastball. He just pulls his hands in there and keeps that barrel flat through the zone. That allows him to pick up that double down the right field line once again and get the Brewers on the board here with no outs. Chris Tillman, that is 12 first inning runs he's given up in his last now 6 starts here at the beginning of this ball game.
So Ryan Braun picks up his 21st RBI, and 2 batters into the game. The Orioles trail.
Take a look, Chris Tillman, the 12 first inning runs allowed. That's 2nd most in the American League, and the Brewers 31 first inning runs. So they like to mark early. They are aggressive early. That's in the National League for the Brewers.
Still nobody out for Jonathan Lucroy. And a tie 1-0. Lucroy at .331. That is 3rd best in the National League.
He is flat out raking as well. 20 doubles on the season for Lucroy, and he's got a streak going, 7-game hitting streak as well. Seeing the ball big.
Lucroy 17 for his last 40. That is a .425 clip. So Tillman trying to minimize the damage here, trailing 1-0, runner at second, and nobody out. And he misses outside for ball 2.
Well, Chris typically likes to spin off towards that first base side, but in doing so, sometimes that front shoulder flies open. You see balls elevated up in the zone too often. He is so much better if he can trust that he keep that front shoulder driving towards home plate and keep it down, because he can create such a great downhill angle. Right now leaving a lot of pitches up in the zone.
Well, Tillman for the year was coming off his worst start of the season last Wednesday in Pittsburgh, but Mike, in 8 of his 10 starts he's allowed 3 earned runs or less. So for the most part he has done what you need a starter to do, which is give yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, along the way, though, he's had some really tough innings that he's had to labor through, and he's had a high pitch count in just, 1 inning. His last start there, that 1 inning, 49 pitches. So that takes its toll.
Center field chasing Jones. Adam will glide back on it, and he's got it for the out. Braun is going to tag. He's heading towards third, and the throw comes in high, and Braun slides in. So 1 away here, and the runner goes to third.
Well, let's take a look at probably the best defense in the game today. Nelson Cruz over in left field. Adam Jones roaming center field with Markakis in right. Hardy and Scope up the middle. Machado over at third. And Steve Pearce getting another start at first base with Chris Davis with the birth of his home, with the birth of his daughter. And Hundley making his first start behind the plate as an Oriole. There's a look at Steve Pearce, and all he does when he gets an opportunity is produce, both offensively and defensively. Doing a great job.
Here's Carlos Gomez, who's now in the cleanup spot for Milwaukee. Tillman deals outside, so Chris, the first 4 batters, he's been strike 1 to just 1, and that was Braun who put the first pitch in play.
Right.
Gomez having a real good year. That 326th best in the National League, and he's tied for 6th in home runs.
Pretty healthy pass right there on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Good velocity from Chris Tillman. We haven't seen him get up there in the 93, 94-mile-an-hour range here recently. Settling in at 89, 90, but it's good to see that extra pop there at the top of the zone.
Ball and a strike on Gomez.
Well, Carlos Gomez is certainly a key to this Brewers' success. When he's in the lineup, they are 28-17. When he's out there, 2-4. And check out the numbers there. Runs per game, 4.09 when he's involved, 257 average. All the other numbers when he's out of the lineup, way down. Quite a dynamic player. Really brings it all to the table.
Now that was a good call there. Certainly not looking for that. He ducks out of the way, and it's in for a strike.
Yeah, beautiful breaking ball here. This is a true Chris Tillman biting breaking ball. Good spin, great rotation, really locking Gomez up, and good frame job by Hundley to get the call behind the plate.
A 2-2 on Gomez. Overthrows the fastball for ball 3. Braun is at third. He doubled, moved up on the fly ball, and Gomez now with a 3-2 count. Big pitch here for Tillman. And it's outside, ball 4, so he lost it.
Well, some dangerous hitters here in the middle of this lineup. And being a little careful there with Gomez. Trying to get a chase. We talked about the aggressiveness of this Brewers lineup. One of them stepping to the plate here.
Well, the former Oriole Mark Reynolds, and those numbers are typical Mark Reynolds line. Low batting average, a lot of home runs, driving in the runs, and he has 54 strikeouts in 145 official at-bats. But he is dangerous every time he steps up because of that home run potential.
Yeah, he does not get cheated. He gets 3 swings, and he's going to let it fly every chance he gets.
Now, if Tillman could get a double play ball, he'll be out of it. Gomez is a threat to run at first base. An aggressive swing, fouls it back. 0-1 on Reynolds. The Brewers are in first place in the NL Central, and they've been in first place for 52 days this season. They have not been in first place only 4 days this season, so they've been very consistent from the start. On Renicki's club.
And they haven't been at full strength all season either, so I think really what's kept them in, at the top of this National League Central is the fact that their starting pitching has been so consistent for them. Aramis Ramirez has been on the disabled list with a hamstring. They lost Braun for a while with an oblique. And offensively, they really kind of tapered off. But their starting pitching has really kept them at the top.
0-1 on Reynolds. First and third, 1 down. Milwaukee with a 1-0 lead. And a swing and a miss, 0-2.
Oh, best fastball right there. Great location, down in the zone on that outer third. Well executed, hitting his spot. If he wants a ground ball, he's going to have to keep it down there below the knees. And of course, here with 2 strikes, being ahead of Mark Reynolds, he can expand the zone a little bit as well.
So Reynolds behind in the count, 0-2. And he went too far. That is strike 3. The home plate umpire Tom Woodring said he did not check. Reynolds is questioning it.
It was pretty close. It was close, but Reynolds, you see this one up over his head, and he just cannot hold himself up. Home plate umpire making the call. Mark Reynolds wants him to check down to first, see if DJ Rayburn wants to pick up. That's what he was arguing about.
So a big out for Chris Tillman, his first strikeout. 1 out away from getting out of this inning with just the 1 run.
Well, that would be a big confidence booster for Tillman. Hopefully you get him to settle in.
Here's Scooter Gennett. And he's been getting the majority of the starts at second base. Ricky Weeks, big contract, but coming off the bench. And the breaking ball misses outside. Tom Woodring, by the way, has the plate today. He's another of the minor league umpires being worked in this year because of the umpires going to New York City to maintain the replays on challenges by managers. So Woodring, one of these many minor league umpires, getting a chance. One 1-0 on Scooter Gennett. Runners on the corners now with 2 down. And a high fly ball, right center field. Jones back on it. Adam will get there. And he's got it for the out. And what a job by Chris Tillman. 1-0, 2 batters into the game. He holds Milwaukee to a run. For being selected, and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit today. Play the Orioles scratch off from the Maryland Lottery for your chance to be a contestant of the game with a trip to see the O's play at Wrigley or to the MLB World Series. Learn more at mdlottery.com/Orioles. Well, Nick Hundley and Chris Tillman talking it over after the inning as Hundley learning his new starting pitcher. Yeah, telling Tillman what he saw.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of this throughout this ball game as Hundley tries to get familiar with what Tillman wants to do.
Strike 1 to Steve Pearce. Hardy and Hundley will follow.
And he's going to remind him of things that he's seeing out there. I just saw that hand gesture about trying to get on top. And really that's going to be a key for Chris Tillman in this ball game. Maintaining that downhill angle and try to eliminate so many high mistakes up in the top of the zone. Really drive that ball down, and as he can do that more consistently, then he'll get more swing and misses at the top of the zone.
Well, I think he was fooled on that pitch. Well, Steve Pearce comes in, Mike. He has been red hot, and it's hard to stay this hot with sporadic playing time, but he's doing it.
Well, you know, this is what Steve Pearce has done his whole career, really prepared himself for these opportunities. Right now riding a 5-game hitting streak, hitting .538 with a couple RBIs, and he is making the most of his chances. And we talked about his defensive ability as well. Big double play in yesterday's ball game. Really been flashing the leather, and you're seeing more consistent quality at bats every day from Steve Pearce.
And he got him. So Loesch starting out strong. That's his second K and 1 away.
Yeah, a little cutter here, a little slider actually. Throws it hard, 86 miles an hour, and this is his MO, especially to righties. Works the two-seamer and then sliders away. Really likes that outer third. Will expand the zone when he gets ahead. He knows what to do with the baseball.
And now he'll go to work on J.J. Hardy, who has got a nice ovation returning home where his career began.
Yeah, J.J. signed with the Brewers way back in 2001. 5 solid years here. Was an all-star back in 07.
Towards the gap in left center field. That ball is back, and that is against the wall and bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. Well, welcome back to Milwaukee, J.J. Hardy, as he doubles in his first at bat, and just like that, his hitting streak reaches 8 in a row.
Yeah, he has been red hot as well. Swinging the bat so consistently here as of late, and this ball up in the zone, and he gets on it. Stay behind it. Always the great head position and driving it in that left center gap for about 10th double of the year.
So the Orioles with the tying run at second base with 1 down, and here is Nick Hundley in his Orioles debut, acquired from the San Diego Padres.
And as it always works, Buck Showalter aware of the numbers, and Hundley has good numbers off Loesch, 3 for 7 with a couple home runs in his career.
There's numbers with the Padres. The Padres had 3 catchers. And when the Orioles went looking for a catcher, it proved to be a real good trade partner. Late on that swing, 1-1 the count.
Real good late movement on the Kyle Loesch slider, down and away. Great location as well. He loves that pitch. You're going to see it thrown both to lefties and righties.
Fastball in the outside corner, 1-2. Of course, the Padres have Rene Rivera. He's a veteran. He's the backup. And Yasmani Grandal, who is now the starting catcher. So Hundley became expendable, and the Orioles are happy to have him.
Well, they are. I mean, a veteran presence. He's been able to handle staffs, throughout his career.
And fooled by that off-speed pitch, he's down on strikes and 2 away. So 2 down here in the second. Let's get a look at our Jeep inside the numbers. What's hot and what's not.
Now, well, since May 18th, the Orioles offense has been red hot. 6 runs per game. That's tied for second. Batting average 308. That's tied for second, or that's at second. Home runs, almost 2 per game, and that's at second. But the earned run average, that has kind of escalated. 29th in the game at 5.54. Of course, that opponent batting average up as well. So the Orioles' goal are try to get both the offense and the pitching clicking at the same time, and when they do, one of the better teams, if not best in the American League right now. There have been some inconsistencies in the American League East, but the Orioles can start working on all cylinders. They are going to be a tough team to contend with.
And Jonathan Scope plays off a couple of breaking balls, 2-0. Jonathan going through the adjustment process. He's seeing a steady diet of those kind of pitches. He does have a 2-game hitting streak going. Kyle Loesch trying to prevent the Orioles from tying this game. And a foul ball.
One of the hardest spots to hit, and when you play in the National League and now here in interleague play, is the 8th spot with the pitcher behind you. Pitchers typically, especially now in this situation with 2 outs, they would love for Tillman to lead off the next inning. So he's going to try to make some tough pitches to get Jonathan Scope. Not afraid to throw breaking balls, anything now with the open base. He feels like he's getting in trouble. So keeping a hitter guessing and thinking throughout an at bat.
Well, Jonathan in the month of May has batted just 185. He does have a home run and 5 ribbies. Hardy at second with 2 down after a 1-out double. Two and 2 on Scope. High fly ball, deep center field. Back on it is Gomez, still going back, reaches up and makes the catch. Takes an extra base hit away from Scope, and the Orioles are done in the second. A double of man nuts. Bottom of the second coming up, 1-0 Milwaukee. Memorial Day is being brought to you by DynCorp International. We serve today for a better tomorrow. And by Navy Federal Credit Union. Once a member, always a member. Navy Federal Credit Union. We air today's game on Masson in recognition of Memorial Day. We would like to thank all past and current members of the United States military for their work and dedication in protecting our country. Happy Memorials Day. That's clever. And the Stars and Stripes proudly hanging here in left center field at Miller Park with the roof open today. Nice job by Chris Tillman in the first. A triple, then a double, 1-0, man at second, nobody down, and he got out of it without any further damage.
Well, he really settled in there and executed some quality pitches to get out of that jam. But falling behind early really tested, and had to throw 21 pitches in that first inning.
Outside to Chris Davis, the other Chris Davis. But Tillman has thrown strike one to just 2 of the first 7 batters. Went too far on the appeal. B.J. Rayburn at first base today. Chris Davis is out of Lakewood, California. Drafted by Milwaukee in 2009. Center field chasing Jones. That's down for a base hit, and that gets to the wall. A lot of room out there as Jones runs it down, and Davis has a leadoff double. Well, the Brewers have 3 hits in this game. They have 2 doubles and a triple and a 1-0 lead. Fans, you can celebrate summer at Oriole Park by picking up the new Birdland Summer 6-pack. You'll get a ticket to 6 games of your choice throughout the year and savings up to 20% off the cost of single game tickets. Lock in your seats now for the best games and promotions of the summer and save as well. For all the details, Orioles.com/6-pack or call 888-848-BIRD.
Chris Davis picking up his 14th double on a hanging changeup. Just didn't get it down in the zone. He doubled up on the pitch. First one got a strike, perfectly executed down in the zone. Tried to go back there, but left it up, and Davis made him pay.
Lyle Overbay swings through it. Now, Overbay is one of the few hitters in this lineup that has seen Tillman extensively from his time in the AL East. See, batting 200 on the year. He is 7 for 17 against Chris with a couple of homers.
Lyle Overbay, the veteran hitter, off to a slow start here, average-wise, but Always real good potential. You said the couple home runs off Tillman throughout his career. Typically a doubles hitter, though, gap to gap type guy.
Ball and a strike on him. And upstairs, Chris has been missing upstairs with that fastball.
Yeah, way too much up in the zone. Even with his off-speed pitches, Davis hit the hanging changeup. The game started off with a breaking ball that was up at the top of the zone by Segura that laced it for a triple down the right field line. So just getting over the top and driving it down at the bottom of the strike zone is going to be a key for Tillman.
High fly ball to right. He got a lot of it. Back on it, Markakis at the wall, makes the catch. So the ballpark holds it. Davis tags. He goes to third, and he will stop there. So one away here in the second as Overbay gave it a ride. Well, Chris Tillman at home has made 4 starts, has not won, despite an ERA of 2.78. And Mike, the story lies within the run support. Look at the difference between home and road on the year.
Yeah, it sure does. Not much run support at home. Just 3 runs at 1.19 run support per game there. And on the road, though, in his 6 starts, 4-0 record. But look at his earned run average, 5.14. But he is getting a ton of run support. 31 runs scored for Chris Tillman on the road. Now, this Orioles offense, one of the best offensive teams when they do go on the road. And they're looking for some more support here this afternoon. Tillman on the hill.
So here is Kyle Loesch, the pitcher. 3 out of 22 with 2 ribbies. Orioles have the infield up tight. And a swing and a miss, so 0-2. Well, our Twitter chatter, David Lowe, happy Memorial Day today. We honor those who served this great country. So thankful. Hashtag true heroes. David was so excited when he got here today. He put a picture of his uniform on Twitter. I think that was overthrown a bit.
Yeah.
Couldn't get Loesch to chase.
Boy, what a play by Hundley. Actually almost had to come off his feet to make this play. Tillman, the release point way high in the zone. Hundley indeed. Looking like a middle infielder jumping for a line drive there.
Ground ball foul. Well, that breaking ball hung just enough for Loesch to get a piece of it. Milwaukee back home today. They're beginning an 8-game homestand over the next 9 days. They'll have Thursday off following this series. Ron Renick's club just went 4-6 on a 10-game road trip.
Yeah, they had a hard time. They struggled a little bit offensively. Picked it up the last couple games there in Miami.
So Loesch strikes out 2 away, and another big out for Tillman.
Well, pretty good fastball. Loesch battling a little bit through this at bat, but challenges him at the top of the zone, 92 miles an hour. And he can throw that for a strike more consistently. You see the little rise here. This is what a hitter's looking at. The ball has some pretty good life as it comes through the strike zone there. Good fastball, big strikeout for Tillman.
Gene Segura, the leadoff man, as the lineup turns over, tripled and scored in the first.
Well, Segura, you saw him get on that hanging breaking ball for the triple there back in the first inning, but he's a dynamic offensive player as well. He can bunt, he can run, and he's an aggressive swinger, so you really have to pay attention defensively.
Well, Segura was an untouchable prospect with the Los Angeles Angels until they had a chance to get Zach Greinke. And then he was included in that deal coming to Milwaukee in 2012. He was in Double-A with the Angels that year. Well, good pitch there.
Great changeup. Good pitch and really some good late movement. Able to keep Segura off balance.
Runner at third is Chris Davis, who led off this inning with a double and moved up on the fly ball by Overbay. That ball had a lot of movement, and Segura couldn't reach it. 2 strikes.
Yeah, with good velocity as well. Now changeup at 83, the pitch before, and this one 92-mile-an-hour fastball, located well with a little cut action on the end. Take advantage of the over-aggressiveness there. That pitch probably 6-8 inches off the plate. See if he tries to get him to chase again. Hundley wanted that one off the plate away. That ball worked its way back up and over the plate. Dangerous pitch for Chris Tillman.
Chris Davis at third. 2 down in the inning as Tillman trying to keep this a 1-0 game. And the 2-2 is fouled back. Well, fans, you can get social with Masson for your chance to meet Buck Showalter. Remember to follow Masson on Twitter and tag your tweets with #MassonOrioles to be automatically entered to win. Being social with Masson has its rewards. Of course, this past weekend at Camden Yards, it was social weekend for Masson out on Utah Street.
Were you involved in that?
I was on Friday.
All right.
Yes. Met a lot of nice fans, posed for some pictures. 2-2 pitches hit towards center field. Adam Jones on the run, and he's going to get there for the out. So Tillman works out of it again. A double, a man left. We will head to the third. Birds come to bat, down by a run. Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By University of Maryland, University College. And by Luna. For beautiful new carpet, hardwood, and laminate, call 877-241-LUNA. Yes, spring has arrived in Wisconsin. Nick Hundley and Matt Wieters talking it over. Matt giving the new Oriole catcher some tidbits. It's not a bad guy to have around, the guy who has caught the majority of the innings for these pitchers.
Right. Yeah, great communication there. And they are going to be talking from here on out. I mean, every day you're going to see Hundley in either John Russell's ear or Matt Wieters' ear, or collectively everybody, you know, all the catchers together.
And Chris made contact. He did have a sacrifice bunt last week in Pittsburgh. Reynolds is so deep, he might as well bunt here.
Might as well.
He went too far. DJ Rayburn said emphatically. So he's down on strikes and 1 away.
Well, just a hard slider. He gets ahead with 2 strikes, and boy, it didn't look like Tillman went. But I think it's all right. Get Tillman back in there, rested. Get him strong here as he goes into the 3rd inning.
33 pitches as he works in the 3rd. With Markakis for his 2nd at bat. And he'll take a strike. Nick now 0 for his last 10. And a base hit up the middle for Markakis, right past the glove of Kyle Lohse. So the Orioles get a 1-out base runner here in the 3rd. Well, it's now time for all fans to tweet their photo using the hashtag MASSONFanPhotos for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast, all brought to you by our friends at AT&T. Those fans in Milwaukee, nice crowd on this Memorial Day holiday. And the roof is open.
A beautiful day. You see the shadows starting to creep in on the field, though. See if that comes into play, affects the hitters at all as this ball game progresses.
Manny Machado with Markakis at first. And he'll take down and away 1-0. Manny grounded out to first his first at bat. Kyle Lohse 3-1 in his career against the Orioles. He last started against the Orioles 3 seasons ago, June 28th of 2011, interleague, when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he won that game. Ball 2 outside.
Well, trying to bring that 2-seamer back on the outside corner, just missing. Man, Machado now gets himself into a favorable hitters count at 2-0, but Lohse command of all of his pitches. You really don't know what's coming next. Can't really sit dead red fastball. That's a slider for a strike.
Manny checking Bobby Dickerson to see if something might be up with the 2-1 count. The shadows Mike talked about. Strike on the inside corner. Machado doesn't like the call.
Now works the 2-seam fastball in. You see LaCroix setting up in there. Looked like that 2-seam movement gets it off the plate inside. LaCroix framing it well and gets the call once again, but that pitch is off the plate.
Yeah, if it hits the chalk of the batter's box, it's not a strike, and that did. Ball 3.
Yeah, so why not go back in there and double up, try to work it off a little bit more.
Manny's talking to himself now. That was the same pitch.
Right.
First it was a strike, then it's not. Markakis runs. The 3-2 is grounded towards the hole and a base hit in the left field. And Markakis is going to try for third, and he'll make it. Good base running by Nick. So the Orioles have something going here. First and third and only 1 down.
Oh, what a nice piece of hitting by Manny Machado. Good, actually, much like a veteran hitter. Worked a couple fastballs in off the plate, stuck with the slider, bounds it through that hole, the 5-6 hole. Markakis on the run. He's aggressive going into third base. Nice aggressive offense right there by the Orioles. Good piece of hitting by Manny Machado.
Well, Manny able to get that ball through. The Brewers were at double play depth, so Segura a little more shallow and couldn't get back on it. Adam Jones with a chance to get this game even or better. Runners on the corners with 1 down. Inside, ball 1. Good numbers with runners in scoring position. Adam with his base hit in the first, now is hitting 5 straight. High fly ball, deep right field. That chases Braun back, and that ball is off the wall and in play. Here's Markakis to score. Manny Machado's being sent by Bobby Dickerson. He's heading towards the plate. Here's the throw. It is not in time. And Jones ends up at third. So the Orioles, on the extra base hit by Adam Jones, have a 2-1 lead.
Well, Adam Jones, so dangerous, very good at hitting with runners in scoring position, and he has been on fire here recently. He gets the hands inside this baseball. That is right on the inside corner and drives it into one of those quirky corners here at Miller Park. Bobby Dickerson getting Manny Machado on his horse as Nick Markakis scores in front of him. Adam Jones in the third base easily. Beautiful piece of hitting, clutch hitting from Adam Jones.
Now, Adam never stopped, so that should be a triple. And it drives in 2 to give the Orioles the lead. Adam now with 28 RBIs. Here's Cruz. And fouls it off behind Wayne Kirby. So get a look at our Jeep inside the numbers in Kyle Loesch.
Well, the key is right now, and innings 1 through 3, that's when he gets roughed up a little bit. 3.60 earned run average. Opponents hitting 263. Innings 4 and beyond, he really bears down. 193 earned run average, holding opponents to just that 203. And here the Orioles taking advantage of that here, putting a couple marks on and threatening for more at the heart of the order, stepping up.
Nelson struck out his first at bat. He's got a 6-game hitting streak going. And he's back out on the road, Mike. He loves it on the road. There's an RBI chance. He's got 31 ribbies away from home.
Yeah, well, he has been so consistent this season, but incredible numbers on the road.
And a base hit for Cruz. He'll drive in Adam Jones. Nelson's thinking 2. Here's the throw of Gomez, the headfirst dive, and a hustle double. So the Orioles, 4 straight hits, have a 3-1 lead.
Boy, that's a big time play right there by Nelson Cruz. Not satisfied with just picking up that RBI. Staying on this pitch, driving it through, but hustling out of the box. See it past Segura with the drawn in infield. He recognizes how deep the outfield is. Now Gomez, he is a great center fielder, closes on it, but Cruz hustling into second base. That is a really aggressive, strong offensive play there by Nelson Cruz.
Outstanding base running in this inning as Markakis went first to third on the single by Machado, and now Cruz a hustle double. Steve Pearce takes high 1-0. Steve struck out his first at bat. 5-game hitting streak he brings into today's game, and he's batting .360 in the month of May. Outstanding breaking ball, 1-1.
Real slow there, 74 miles an hour. We've seen him stay consistent with his 2-seamer and his slider. Pretty firm pitches. They look the same until one goes one way, one goes the other. But then he keeps hitters off with that breaking ball, doubling up there. Back-to-back curveballs to Steve Pearce.
Well, Mike, if you're a law of averages guy, Kyle Loesch was due for a game in which he had the battle. He lost his first start April 1st, hasn't lost since. Hard hit ball towards the hole. Segura, he'll throw to third, and the tag on Cruz, and he's out. So Nelson runs into an out. That's the only play Segura had. If Cruz holds up, that's probably an infield hit.
A pretty heady play right here. Now Segura, one of those dynamic fielders as well. A good job by Mark Reynolds to get back. Cruz thinking it might be through the hole. He's running aggressively here. Maybe still thinking too much hustle on that play as the ball's in front of him. Loesch likes the big out. This heady defense there by the Brewers.
J.J. Hardy takes a strike. J.J. doubled his first at bat. And another base hit. Pearce to stop at second, and the Orioles having a big inning at the bat. 5 hits in this inning. Fans, the O's are proud to join Major League Baseball in honoring our armed forces on this Memorial Day by wearing special jerseys and caps that features the camo pattern. Show your support by visiting Orioles.com/camo jerseys and place a bid on one of these unique items. After today's game, each jersey and cap will be autographed by the player or coach wearing it. It will be authenticated and then made available for auction. All the proceeds will benefit the Fort Meade Alliance Foundation. Now, to place your bids and learn more, just go online, Orioles.com/camo jerseys. So here is Nick Hundley, the 8th batter to come up in this inning. He has 2 on and 2 out. Ground ball towards the hole. Segura gloves. He'll go to third and out at third and a force. Wow. Gene Segura takes 2 base hits away, gets 2 outs at third, and gets the Brewers off the field. Outstanding range by Segura, but the Orioles get 3 to get the lead. Mid-third at Miller Park as Segura ends it 3-1 O's. Brought to you by Volkswagen. June 13th, 1999 in Atlanta. Have recorded 5 hits already in the game. Cal Ripken Jr. singled to left field. He set a franchise record with 6 hits in a game. Cal that night 6 for 6. He had 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 5 runs scored against the Braves. The Orioles won that game 22-1. The second most runs scored in a game, 23 against Toronto in 2000. And there is Technical Sergeant Eric Sanford. He was recognized here at Miller Park on this Memorial Day. And thank you, Tech Sergeant Sanford, for all you do as we honor the military today and the fallen heroes who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Well, Chris Tillman now going to work. Now has a lead to protect. He has survived a couple of tough innings and now out in front.
Yeah, he really needs to get this Orioles offense back in the dugout. A quick inning, nice shutdown inning after the Orioles battled through, picking up 3 there off Loesch. Nice job to get ahead right there to Braun.
Line drive right to Machado at third. And 1 away here in the 3rd inning. Well, let's get a look at our PNC Minor League report, brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. How about Mr. Galsman last night?
Yeah, good to see. Yesterday, 6 in the 3rd inning, 6 hits, no runs allowed, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 93 pitches. So his pitch count starting to work up. 64 of those for strikes. So command in the zone for Gausman. Good sign there. You see this season the 1-2 record with a 2.41 earned run average. Really impressive for Kevin Gausman. Good to see him showing some consistency down there in AAA.
And ball one outside to Jonathan Lucroy. By the way, in that game that we just showed you with Cal with the 6 hits, the Orioles had 25 hits. Just for the record, Mike Bordick did have a base hit in that game.
Just one.
One for 4. Well, the team was so far ahead, you left the game. Rebele took over, and he got 3 at-bats.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that was quite a game for Cal. Man.
Tillman at 44 pitches as he works here in the 3rd. There have been 2 key moments in this game. Tillman in the 1st inning, the triple, then the double. And Lucroy hit a fly ball, so Braun tagged and went to 3rd. So he was at 3rd with 1 out and didn't score. Chris Davis doubled. He moved up on a fly ball. He was at 3rd with 1 out and didn't score. So Chris able to minimize the damage, held Milwaukee to 1 run in the 1st and nothing since.
Well, you'd like the innings to go a little smoother than that. You wouldn't want Chris Tillman laboring through a couple challenging innings there to start this ball game.
So there's a walk, his 2nd of the game, and Milwaukee gets a 1-out base runner. Well, the Orioles are back home on Friday, June the 6th. They'll begin a weekend series with the Oakland Athletics, and on Saturday, June 7th, the first 25,000 fans 15 and over will receive a Manny Machado Platinum Glove bobblehead. We'll celebrate Manny's 2013 honor as the American League's top defender and add it to your Birdland collection. Tickets are going fast. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or just call 888-848-BIRD.
There he is. Platinum Glover. Nice to see him settling in. It took him a little while to get his rhythm and timing, both offensively and defensively.
Gomez gets a base hit. Adam Jones will cut it off. Lucroy will go to 3rd. And his 1st and 3rd of 1 down. Gomez with a walk and a hit. He's been on base twice.
And he got on an elevated pitch from Chris Tillman, driving it out in the gap. Good job by Adam Jones actually cutting that ball off. But runners at 1st and 3rd now, threatening again here with just the 1 out.
And here's Mark Reynolds, struck out his 1st at bat on a check swing.
And challenging Reynolds with some fastballs. That one there, 92. Top of the zone.
Oh, and 1 on Reynolds. Runners on the corners with 1 down. And he lays off the high fastball.
We'd like to see Chris Tillman start changing some eye levels a little bit here. Just majority of his pitches up at the top of the zone. Trying to work some down there. Make that pitch that rises up a little more effective.
Fly ball to center field. It'll get a run in. Adam Jones back on it. That ball carries, and Adam runs it down in the deepest part of center field. Here comes Lucroy to score, and it's a 1-run game. So Reynolds, the sac fly, his 3rd. And the Orioles lead is now 3-2.
Well, got lucky there. Another elevated pitch. You see Hundley setting up one that down and away. Reynolds gets the arms extended. Just too much altitude. Nice play by Adam Jones, running into one of those quirky corners out there in right center field to come down with it. But it is a sac fly. The Brewers get 1 run closer.
Now 2 down in the inning. Here is Scooter Gennett. Flied out to Jones, his 1st at bat. And throw to 1st to chase Gomez. Jeanette just turned 24, drafted by Milwaukee in 2009. Gomez runs, pitch taken, throw to second by Hundley. He is out at second base as Hundley guns him down. Outstanding tag by Hardy, and that will end the inning.
A beautiful pick here. Take a look at Hundley. Quick release, the short arm. J.J. Hardy on the backhand. Nice straddle. Hoods that baseball. Slaps the tag down. Beautiful play by the Orioles. Look at that pick.
Day of 2014, we honor our armed forces and all those who have served to help keep our country free. Adam Jones with a big 2-run triple. And the military having a good time. So are the fans, remembering grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles who served in the military service. And the Orioles have a 3-2 lead as we go to the fourth. Scope with a base hit up the middle. So Jonathan, who hit the ball to deep left center field, his first at bat, picks up a single. Jumping on that fastball there.
Well, beautiful swing right there from Jonathan Scope. We've seen him get a little big early in counts, trying to do too much damage, but he stayed through that baseball. Nice clean single right up the middle. And now you would expect Chris Tillman to lay down that bunt. You mentioned the sacrifice he had in his last game.
A little late on that effort. The interleague games, it is a tremendous advantage for the National League team when the American League team goes on the road. American League teams are built around a DH, and the pitchers rarely, if ever, hit. And Tillman looks it over, takes the ball. Now, Buck Showalter predicted before the game that Tillman was going to go deep today. I don't know if he was just kidding around or if he really felt that way. I mean, Tillman's no Zach Britton.
Right, Zach Britton, he can swing it. Man, oh man.
And he missed it.
Well, Tillman's got that leverage at 6'5". He could potentially hit a home run. I wouldn't be surprised if Buck wants him to lay a bunt down here with 2 strikes, though. Tillman really have to try to take advantage of this opportunity and helping himself.
And he missed it. So he's down on strikes and 1 away. So he managed to foul one off late and then missed 2 attempts at it. And 1 away. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield will contribute $50 to support Be More for Healthy Babies. The Orioles have drawn 115 walks. That's a total of $5,750. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and a more active lifestyle. And a strikeout number 5 for Loesch. He's gotten Tillman twice. And Markakis is a breaking ball for a strike.
Loesch really likes that pitch, the breaking ball, especially the lefties to get ahead with. He's shown really good command of it and gets him off the fastball. I think the Orioles realizing that he likes to throw strikes. He's aggressive in the zone. We saw Jonathan Scope, that leadoff single, jumping on the first pitch fastball. So Loesch, the veteran pitcher, aware of that as well. So the slow breaking ball to Markakis to get ahead.
You know, there are certain statistics that give you a good idea of how a pitcher is pitching. And one is how many base runners has he allowed. And Loesch, per 9 innings, averages 9.62, so he's in single digits. The Orioles in this game through 3 1/3 already have 8 base runners. And Nick fouls it off to stay alive up to the second deck. This is a big ballpark. Once the roof is open, the windows are open. You see the windows out there where the glare is. If the roof is closed, they have windows that come down. It's not like Seattle where they just put the big roof over and you're still outside. This one becomes an indoor stadium when they close the roof. Upstairs with a fastball, 1-2.
Overthrew that one a little bit, trying to get it inside. Saw LaCroix setting up in there. Pulled off it, more of a waste pitch up in the zone.
Scope a leadoff single. He's at first with 1 down. And a double play ball. Segura will take it himself. And the first to get Markakis, and that ends the inning. So leadoff single and none left as Loesch gets the pitcher's best friend. Mid-4th in Milwaukee. Tillman and the O's with a lead.
For protecting and defending our country. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Caleb Joseph, and we echo that on this Memorial Day. Of course, many members of the Orioles family are veterans, and Casey Willett there, the radio producer engineer on the Orioles radio network. He is a veteran of the Army, served in Korea, and now retired, and very proud of his military service, as he should be.
Yes, he is. Very proud.
So Tillman looking for a clean inning. Now there is a patriotic fan. That beats my tie.
No, if she only had your tie, that would be perfect.
Here's Scooter Gennett. And it's outside 1-0. Gennett was at bat when Gomez was caught trying to steal to end the 3rd. Davis on deck, then Overbay in the 4th. Now this would be the inning if you're Tillman we really would love to get a 3-up, 3-down inning. If he does, that means Kyle Loesch will lead off the next inning.
Yes.
He's due to bat fourth here in the fourth. See 70% fastballs for Tillman early on.
Well, really trying to get the feel for that pitch. A couple good pitches here, though, to Jeanette. Nice breaking ball, and that was one of his better fastballs this afternoon. Good velocity and down in the zone. You see Dave Wallace, the Orioles pitching coach, looking on intently.
Called strike 3 on the outside corner. So Tillman hits the glove, Hundley frames it, and Tillman gets the out.
The ball had a pretty good two-seam action on it. Actually, you see Hundley, I think he wants the fastball up, but see the run down and away in that outer third. Good fastball, 91 miles an hour. Jeanette looking for something else. It's rung up looking.
Here's Chris Davis. He doubled his first at bat. Now, when the O's Chris Davis arrives tomorrow, he'll end his paternity leave. And congratulations to Chris and Jill on the birth of their daughter, as their life is about to change for the better.
Yeah.
You think we could get the two Chris Davises to pose?
Right.
Well, you know people. You work on that.
All right. I'll see if I can get it done tomorrow.
And a foul.
A good pitch right there from Chris Tillman. Will change up. Hitters count. Gets Davis out in front. Get back into the count here with a strike.
Nice crowd on hand here at Miller Park, which replaced County Stadium, or as Mike Bordick referred to it, the Coliseum. The best part of County Stadium, they had a ledge right below the press box where if you talk them into it, they let you broadcast from.
Oh, yeah?
Great view. And it's outside, ball 4. Well, there's a one-out walk, Tillman's third walk in this game. Orioles fans can earn rewards for sharing and posting Orioles content on social media by joining the O's Bird's Nest. You can join the conversation now at osbirdsnest.com. Plus, enter today's bonus code Memorial Day. That's one word, no spaces, before midnight. And you'll receive 2 bonus tokens and be entered to win a monthly prize of an autographed player photo or a year-end prize of 2 tickets to 2015 opening day. Join the O's Bird's Nest today and start being rewarded. Another O's fan here at Miller Park. Here's Lyle Overbay. And a swing and a miss. Good off-speed pitch.
Yeah, beautiful changeup down and away. Don't keep the ball down here to Overbay. Orioles incorporating a shift on him with Hardy swung over to the second base side. Manny Machado, you see, responsible for the whole left side of the infield.
Just inside, 1-1. Both Overbay and Reynolds were signed to minor league contracts and then made the team in spring training, which both the Brewers and the players had envisioned. And that's upstairs, 2-1. Overbay began his career in the Arizona organization. Then as a young player came to Milwaukee. So he is back. Last year had an interesting year. He was in spring training with the Red Sox, a late cut, and then he spent the season with the Yankees. Runner at first, 2-1 the count. Upstairs, ball 3. Tillman is missing high consistently in this game.
Well, he sure is, and that kind of leads you to believe that front shoulder just flying open a little too quickly, not letting his arm get up on top. and following through towards the plate, really finishing down. Right now, when that front shoulder flies, his release point is a little bit elevated, and you're seeing him lose command at the top of the zone.
And he walked him. So back-to-back walks after a strikeout. 4 walks in the game for Tillman.
Well, that really hurts Tillman. Of course, the jacking the pitch count up is one thing, but giving these teams extra opportunities now. Once again, runners in scoring position, and really every inning for Tillman has been a grind. You see his pitch count up to 66 right now, and not a good ratio. 30 balls and 36 strikes. A lot of inconsistency. Really working hard in the beginning part of this ball game. Hasn't really been able to find any consistent rhythm.
Kyle Loesch speaking with Ed Cedar, his third base coach. Was this, you would think, a sacrifice situation, but with one down and a guy at the plate who has handled the bat, not necessarily a certainty.
Orioles going to definitely play the bunt situation, and Loesch, the veteran, you know, many years in the National League, certainly has the ability to draw the bat back if he sees the corners crashing in.
And he was going to swing away, and he takes a strike. 3 sacks for Loesch on the year. He struck out his first at bat. Davis at second, Overbay at first, and 1 down. Machado now comes over to talk to Tillman. They want to make sure everybody knows what the rotation will be and the defensive coverage.
Well, Chris Tillman, his responsibility is that third base line in front of home plate, or in front of the mound in the third base line. If the ball's bunted too hard at third base, Manny will field it and go on to first to get the out. It's up to Loesch's job is try to bunt it firmly to Manny Machado.
And the 0-1, he was going to swing away, and he did swing away, and he fouls it back. So he showed bunt and then swings away, and he's down in the count 0-2.
And there it is, showing the bunt. And this is the old butcher boy or slash play at the top of the zone. He's trying to get on top. And just enough carry on the 4-seam fastball to foul it off.
So now he'll try to get the bunt down on an 0-2 pitch. Nope, pulls the bat back again and takes strike 3. A breaking ball for a called strike. That was a good call there by Hundley.
Well, good job by Chris Tillman. And really pretty tough at bat here. Tough situation. You see the breaking ball catching that inside corner. Take a look at the rotation here as this ball just bites down at the end. Nice frame by Hundley.
So Tillman's an out away from getting out of it. Gene Segura up. Showalter with Bobby Dickerson, possibly discussing the defensive alignments. Of course, it wasn't tested because the ball wasn't put in play. Oh, good cut. Tillman is living on the edge in this game.
He sure is.
He so far has been able to, since the Orioles got him the lead, maintain it.
Now he's just got to come up with one more pitch, try to get out of this jam here. But every inning has been a test for him. There's Bobby Dickerson moving the infield around. Some positioning. Steve Pearce being brought in just a hair.
And a foul in and out of the glove of Hundley. So 0-2 on Gene Segura. Tillman trying to get out of this jam after back-to-back one-out walks. Little bit high with a breaking ball. And again, not a bad idea. You have a hitter looking for a fastball, being in defensive mode there.
Yeah. I mean, I think you want to throw the breaking ball, but you want to either bounce it or throw it off the plate. I mean, you miss up there in the zone. Segura hit a hanging breaking ball for a triple in his first at bat. Make that mistake again.
And a foul back. Just saw a shot at the bench. It looked like Dave Wallace was hiding. There he is. There's Dave. Peeking around the corner. Stephen Clevenger now with Buck. The teaching never stops, does it?
No, it sure doesn't. I think the beauty of Buck Showalter's teams, there are some great veterans on the team, and the coaching staff, you know, they're not afraid to talk to the younger players. I mean, everybody's on the same page, and they have to be. So it's constant learning and teaching.
Hard hit ball, base hit into left field. He hung another one. One run is in as Davis scores. Overbay's being sent. He's coming to the plate, and Milwaukee gets the lead. A 1-2 pitch, and Segura rips it down the line for a double.
Well, the two walks ended up costing Chris Tillman, but here's a look at the breaking ball. You see Hundley setting up way on the outside corner. He wants that one down and away, probably in the dirt. Segura, coast to coast, a triple in his first at bat on a hanging breaking ball, and he gets the head to this one, driving it down the left field line, picking up 2 RBI there. Brewers back on top.
Tillman has walked 4 in this game, and 3 have scored, and Milwaukee now has the lead. So they're living on the edge, has caught up to Tillman here in the 4th. He is not yet at a 3-up, 3-down inning. It's a big run out there at second base. You want to keep this a 1-run game if you can. Well, here's Braun, a tough hitter. And it's outside, 1-0. This is the 6th batter to come up here in the 4th.
Well, you didn't want it to get to the heart of this order.
And a swing and a miss. Another good off-speed pitch. Tillman has made some good off-speed pitches. He's thrown some good breaking balls. His problem today has been the consistency with those pitches.
Yeah, really, all of his pitches, just the command of everything. Really hasn't hit his spots that he's wanted. A lot of pitches elevated up in the top of the zone. Even that breaking ball there, even though we got a strike on it, dangerous as it was leaking to the middle third of the plate, Hundley wanted it down and away.
And just missing outside with a fastball. Brad Brock is now getting loose for the Orioles in their bullpen in right field. So Segura with 2 fine defensive plays in the Orioles' 3-run 3rd inning. He has scored a run. He has driven in the 2 runs to give Milwaukee the lead. What a game for him. Braun fouls it back. And what makes it worse for Tillman, Mike, is for Segura, he was ahead of him 1-2, and he couldn't put him away. Yeah. A couple of foul balls prolonging the at-bat, which is a Chris Tillman dilemma.
Well, he has the ability. He's got swing and miss pitches, especially that breaking ball. He's showing he can throw it for strikes, and he can get some chases now with that pitch if he can bounce it. Get it down in the zone.
And a bounce to the scope. Jonathan gets it to first, and that ends the inning. But a big inning for Milwaukee as they get two and get the lead. Our Honda do-ups for the O's. Manny Machado, Adam Jones, and Nelson Cruz as we go to the fifth. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by PNC Bank for the Achiever in you. By Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at ococean.com. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Beautiful view of downtown Milwaukee on this Memorial Day. And the Brewers now have the lead. Chris Tillman and Nick Hundley talking it over. Just missing his spots too often, and the Brewers are not missing them.
Yeah, that's really what it's all about right now, and that's what Hundley's telling him. Just a little bit better location and command of your pitches, and you're going to have more success. I mean, some pitches are just missing. But when he needs the put-away pitch, making mistakes in the zone.
Manny Machado takes a strike. And a bouncer to third. Easy play from Mark Reynolds. In 2 pitches, Machado is retired and 1 away.
Well, the Orioles offense has to find a way to put some more pressure back on Loesch. That 1 inning, the 3rd inning, really showed the capabilities of this Orioles offense. They exploded for the 3 runs. Now we're here, the heart of the order coming up. Put some more pressure on him. See if he can break that trend where he showed how he can bear down after the 4th inning.
Adam Jones has had a 2-hit game. He's now hit 5 in a row. Now with 17 multi-hit games on the year. And Jones in the 3rd inning, Mike, he went with a pitch and drove in a couple.
Oh, he sure did. See him pull the hands to get to this inside fastball, driving it out to right center off one of the quirky corners in the outfield. And big triple, scoring 2 for the Orioles. A big inning. Adam has really been swinging the bat well. Now hitting in 22 of his last 24 ball games, and has reached base in 20 straight games.
And then he pulls it to short. And Segura gets him by a stride, and 2 away here in the 5th inning. Well, as promised earlier in the game, our AT&T's fan photo. Fans at Camden Yards over the weekend. Nice looking family.
Everybody's sporting the O's there. Machado, Markakis.
and those fans here. Here's Nelly Cruz. Cruz drove in a run with a double in the third. And he'll take a strike. So Loesch is trying to do what Tillman was not able to do, have a shutdown inning after his team scored. Tillman has allowed runs in 3 of the 4 innings in this game. Cruz now with 45 RBIs on the year, leading the American League.
Well, Nelson Cruz, one thing that I've been impressed with now, I've always admired him offensively.
Diving stop by Reynolds from his knees across, and he got him! And the scoop by Overbay on the back end. Reynolds robs Cruz, and the Orioles go 3 up and 3 down.
Mark Reynolds can make some spectacular defensive plays here. Just a reaction type play, diving down the line. A good pick on the end by Lyle Overbay. Here it is, step and a dive. Flashing the leather for Mark Reynolds.
Today is being brought to you by DynCorp International. We serve today for a better tomorrow. And by Navy Federal Credit Union. Once a member, always a member. Navy Federal Credit Union. We air today's game on MASN in recognition of Memorial Day. We'd like to thank all United States military personnel for serving our nation. There's Tillman going back to work here. He has not had a 3-up, 3-down inning. And has given back a 3-1 lead and now trails. Pop up out behind second base. Hardy's out. Scope is out. Jonathan calls, and he's got it for the out. So Lucroy helping out. 1 pitch, 1 down in the 5th.
Yeah, big help right there. Going after first pitch changeup.
By the way, tomorrow we have to take a little field trip to the upper deck to the Bob Uecker statue.
Yeah.
We gotta get our picture up there by the Bob Uecker statue.
Okay.
There's Carlos Gomez, who's been on base twice. Ooh, wicked swing and a miss, 0-1.
Boy, he does not get cheated. I think everything he does is aggressive.
There it is. The good seats. That is the highest row behind home plate in the upper deck. Hall of Fame broadcaster, still does radio for the Brewers. You see, and they had the arm around the seat so you could sit in the seat and you're at the game with Bob.
Yeah.
Very clever. I think Gomez has something in mind here. There it is. See the fan. Oh, a selfie with Bob Uecker. That's perfect. I see there are some obstructed seats up there because of the beams that help support the roof.
Wow.
And those are all game day tickets. That is way up there. And see you later, Mr. Gomez, who is trying to hit the ball 9 miles into Lake Michigan.
Well, challenging him with some fastballs. Nice to see him work down in the zone. You see a couple pitches, second and third pitch down in the zone, but right back to the top with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That's the firmest fastball he's thrown. Gets a big second out there. Swing and miss by Gomez.
So Tillman is an out away from a 3-up, 3-down inning. And a high foul down the left side. In fact, this is the first time in the game he's retired the first 2 batters in the inning.
Well, that's a good sign. And I think really every inning they've gone back in, Hundley and pitching coach Dave Wallace talking about trying to work down, get on top. So in between innings, Hundley really trying to work him down in the zone in his warm-up pitches.
Reynolds down in the count 0-2. Tillman has 5 Ks. He has walked 4, and 3 of the 4 walks have scored.
Dave Wallace, pitching coach.
When the Orioles were in Kansas City, it looked like the staff, the starting rotation, had turned a corner. But since that Sunday game, they lost the 1-0 game, which is tough. And Danny Duffy took the perfect game into the 7th. And the 0-2 pitch. Call it strike 3. Reynolds down on strikes, and Tillman has his first 3-up, 3-down inning. 6 Ks in the game for Chris. Birds come up, down by a run.
Adam Jones in the 3rd inning. He gets inside a fastball. It's a triple scoring Markakis. And Manny Machado, Nelson Cruz staying red hot, picking up a single to drive in Adam Jones. Big 3rd inning. Then Hundley, first start as an Oriole. He guns down the stolen base attempt. But Segura, he answers back after a couple walks. Over base scoring there. And Chris Davis, they get the Brewers back on top. Chris Tillman, a good inning there in that last inning. 5 innings, 5 hits, all 4 runs earned. 4 base on balls in this ball game. Kyle Lose, he appears to be settling in. 5 innings pitched, just 8 hits, 3 earned runs. Remember, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Steve Pearce will lead off, and he'll take a strike. And the roof is beginning to close. There must be some weather in the area.
See if the park plays any differently.
And a little low 1-1 on Pearce, who lost a base hit when Segura made a nice play in the hole and got Cruz trying to go from 2nd to 3rd. Outside, ball 2.
Now, we talk about the strength quite often about the Orioles defense, the backbone of the team. Of course, Matt Wieters on the disabled list with the elbow, but when he's in there, Wieters, Hardy, and Jones up the middle, great strength. Well, this Brewers team pretty solid as well. LaCroix, pretty underrated catcher back there, calls a good game, and offensively really standing out this season. But Segura at shortstop, one of the most dynamic players in the game, showing that great range. Of course, their center fielder Gomez, quite a player as well.
Pierce swings through it, 3-2. And he just got a piece. Pierce getting a start at first base today. The Orioles, with a right-hander on the mound, have 8 right-handed batters in the lineup. And Milwaukee, with the right-hander on the mound for the Birds, have 7 right-handed batters. And foul tip. LaCroix couldn't hold on. Of course, with Wieters out, you lose the switch hitter there. Chris Davis, he'll be back tomorrow. There's another important lefty bat. No DH, so you can't use David Lowe in left field. You lose a lefty bat there. Another 3-2. Bounce down the line, foul.
You see Loesch consistently mixing up his pitches there. A good breaking ball. Steve Pierce fighting through. Staying at 3-2. Good battle going on. Either Pierce or Loesch trying to, or giving in. Here's a look at the pitch track. The pitch is down and away off the plate. Consistently out in the outer third.
Hard hit ball to third. Knocked down by Reynolds. Picks it up. Has time, and he gets Pierce. And one away here in the 6th inning. So a 9-pitch at bat, but Pierce is retired. Voting for the All-Star game is underway at Orioles.com/voteorange. You can vote for your favorite Orioles up to 35 times with each valid email address. And all fans who vote at least 25 times and select the O's as their favorite team will receive a voucher good for $10 off any box seat or $5 off any reserve seat for one of the 3 games against the Angels, July 29th through the 31st. One lucky fan who votes 35 times will also win a 2014 All-Star Game jersey autographed by Orioles All-Stars. Get online, Orioles.com/voteorange today. Hardy pops it up foul. That'll be in the crowd. 6 in a row retired by Loesch.
Yeah, he has yet to retire J.J. Hardy. A couple hits, a double and a single. His first 2 at bats.
High fly ball to left. He got under it. Chris Davis has it for the out, and 2 away here in the 6th. 7 in a row now retired by Kyle Loesch. And here is Nick Hundley in his first Oriole game. And the pitch taken for a strike, and it's 0-1. And a bouncer foul, so Hundley's down in the count, 0-2. And the 0-2, glove by Loesch. And the first it goes, and the inning is over. So a second straight 3-up, 3-down inning, and 8 in a row retired by Loesch. Let's listen into the public address.
Proud to observe the national moment of remembrance. a nationwide act of unity to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to the United States. Please join us now in observing this brief moment of silence. Thank you. Now, please direct your attention to the video board for a special lesson about today's national moment of remembrance.
A 4-3 lead. Milwaukee coming up at the bottom of the sixth this Memorial Day. We remember notable Hall of Famers who served in our military service. In World War II, Tris Speaker, Casey Stengel, Bob Feller, and Stan Musial, all in the United States Navy. Ty Cobb, Joe DiMaggio, George Sisler, and Jackie Robinson in the U.S. Army. And Ted Williams in the United States Marines. In all, 64 Hall of Fame members served during wartime. And here are those who served in Korea. Eddie Matthews in the U.S. Navy, Ted Williams again in the U.S. Marines, and Ernie Banks, Whitey Ford, and Willie Mays in the U.S. Army. Now, John Glenn, the famous astronaut, later United States Senator, served with Ted Williams, and he said, by luck of the draw, we went to Korea at the same time. Ted was my wingman on about half the missions, and once he was on fire, had the belly land the plane back in. He slid it on the belly. It came up the runway about 1,500 feet before he was able to jump out and run off the wingtip. So Ted Williams, a war hero, as well as a Baseball Hall of Famer. And we remember all those who fought to honor our freedom.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing stuff there. So many great baseball players serving our country, and you wonder about the times, obviously, back then that the players had the ability to do that. And nowadays, baseball players just thankful, and so thankful that the armed forces are still protecting our freedom. We're all recognizing that today.
Well, Tillman had 87 pitches as he goes to work here in the sixth. He had his first 3-up, 3-down inning in the fifth. And he was very pitch efficient. He threw just 8 pitches in the fifth inning. And he gets ahead of Scooter Gennett, 0-1. Chris Davis and Lyle Overbay to foul. And then a foul back, 0-2.
A real nice job getting ahead here by Chris Tillman. Last inning, sensational inning. Nice to see him finally settling in. You see him working down in the zone in that last inning, and now here the start of this inning.
And the 0-2 is lined to Scope. He grabs it to his right and one away here in the sixth. That ball was smoked.
Well, it really was. Gennett just dropping the head. Pretty good breaking ball. Not quite as low as Hundley wanted it, but nice reaction play by Jonathan Scope to step in, showing the ups right there.
He has tremendous hands defensively, doesn't he?
Boy, does he. And he has. I mean, they just stood out at even the younger age. He's only 21, but when he was coming up through the minor leagues, Really bright defensive player.
Chris Davis takes low. Davis doubled. He also drew a one-out walk in the fourth that loomed large. He would eventually score on the two-run double by Segura. High fly ball, deep right center field, and that ball is going to go way out there in right center field for a solo home run. Number 7 for Davis, and it's a 5-3 Milwaukee lead.
Yeah, pretty dangerous hitter at the bottom of the order, showing his home run power there. The 7th of the season. Take a look at the pitch track. This one pretty much right down Broadway. Hundley setting up away. It leaks over right down the middle of the plate, and Davis does not miss it. Stays inside that and just hammers it to deep right center.
That is the 8th home run allowed by Tillman. And Overbay fouls it back. Overbay also drew a walk in the fourth and came around to score on that Segura double. And he fouls back the off-speed pitch. Ryan Webb now getting loose. Ryan Webb tweeting out about Memorial Day today. Keep those families in mind, and a good idea.
I don't mind that. First ball spiked in dirt today from Chris Tillman. Kind of working your way back up. Keep those balls down there in the zone.
Didn't mean to swing, and he fouled it off. Two and two. The fastball misses up and away. And he won't chase the breaking ball, so 3 and 2.
All right, pretty good breaking ball there. Best one of the day so far. Bounced it down at 2 strikes on him. And Overbay, the veteran hitter, didn't bite on it, but more times you can do that, especially after proving that he's throwing it for strikes. You're going to get some chases. And you see the pitch track all over the place here to Overbay. A couple quality pitches down and away.
Well, he was 0-2 after 2 pitches. And he's about to throw the 8th pitch in this at-bat. Buck and the Birds now trail 5-3 as Milwaukee bats in the 6th. And that ball is hit high and deep to right, and that ball's going to go to the second deck for Overbay. Back-to-back home runs, and it's a 6-3 Milwaukee lead. An 8-pitch at bat, and Overbay gets in the one.
Well, work the count back to 3 and 2, and look at the location, just up middle. There's too many pitches elevated here this afternoon from Chris Davis, and Lyle Overbay, the veteran hitter, taking advantage of that mistake up into the second deck here at Miller Park.
Well, here's the pitcher, Kyle Loesch.
First.
Tillman in his last 2 starts, Mike, has now given up 14 runs. 12 earned and 2 unearned, 14 total.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple of games here for Chris Tillman after coming off that complete game shutout.
And a 3-pitch strikeout of the pitcher Loesch and 2 away. Follow every Orioles game all season long with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. At Bat brings you baseball wherever you are with live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, highlights, audio, the free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Get online at the App Store or Orioles.com. So that'll do it for Tillman. He will leave. His pitching change should be quick, just like a Jiffy Lube signature service oil change at Jiffy Lube. They get you in and out fast, and you never need an appointment.
Tillman out of the ball game. He came out wanting to prove that he could do a better job than his last start, where he lasted just over an inning. Well, he came out, got some punch outs up in the zone here. Good movement on the 2-seam fastball. Nice frame by Hundley. Breaking ball was working at times as well. He did rack up some strikeouts, but he was in jams this whole ball game here, getting the pitcher on the high heater. It was just a laborious day. Just 1, 2, 3 innings, 5 2/3 innings of work. Just 7 hits given up, but 6 runs, all of them earned. A couple home runs out there, 4 walks. Once again, hurting Chris Davis. 3 of those walks ended up scoring. Did have the 7 strikeouts, 103 pitches, but it was not an easy afternoon. He gives way to Ryan Webb, 21 games this year, the 2-1 record, a couple wins. That's nice out of the pen. 3.48 earned run average. Opponents hitting 241 overall. Lefties at 250, righties at 236. And Ryan Webb, the sinker slider. Pitcher.
He'll face Gene Segura with 2 outs and nobody on. Breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. Segura tripled and scored in the first, and then drove in 2 runs in the fourth to give Milwaukee the lead. Webb has been pitching very well, just 1 run allowed in his last 8 games. This one's fouled back. So Webb gets ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Now the pitcher's spot is due second in the 7th, so this may be a very short appearance for Ryan Webb. It may be a 1-batter appearance if he could get Segura. Down by 3 now late in the game. Lifted to left field, cruise in on it, he'll get there. And he's got it for the out. So Webb gets the final out, and that ends the inning. But Milwaukee adds 2 on the Davis and Overbay home runs. 7th inning coming up. Birds down by 3. We would like to pay special recognition to all of our service members, both at home and abroad. Memorial Day baseball at Miller Park. Opening game of this series. Now that shirt beats my tie.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt right there.
Stars and stripes all over Miller Park. There's a good one. So she's got a couple of different flags on that shirt. So the Orioles trail by 3 facing Loesch. Here's Schoop to lead off. And ball 1 outside. Mark Reynolds, fabulous defensive game. Robbed a couple of base hits from Orioles that short-circuited rallies. And there's ball 2 outside. So the former Oriole doing it to his own team, and Steve Clevenger is on deck to bat for Webb.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate situation that Chris Tillman couldn't get that final out in the last inning. Clevenger does indeed hit. And Webb only came in to get that final out and used him up. Ideally, Buck would like to have more strength going into the final innings of this ball game.
Foul tip on the breaking ball, so from 2-0 to 2-2 on Schoop. Tillman still on the bench, sitting with Miguel Gonzalez. Brad Brock is up for a second time in this game. Schoop to deep left field. That ball is up, and that ball is gone for Jonathan Schoop. And the Orioles are back within 2. Jonathan's 4th home run of the year, and his first since May the 7th.
And that was a bullet to left field. He got on that pitch. And it didn't take but a second to get out of the park. His 4th home run this season. Good at bat, laid off some tough pitches early in the count. Got one he could handle and turned and burned.
Steve Clevenger pinch hitting, and let's get a look at this ball that sailed out of here.
Yeah, the 2-seam fastball just coming in on that inner third, and Schoop gets the head to it. Happy about that one.
Well, Jonathan, he had been scuffling, but all of a sudden now, Mike, he's got a 3-game hitting streak. He's got a 2-hit game here today. Clevenger deep to right field, right down the line near the foul pole, and it just fades foul. Schoop with a single and a home run. His last multi-hit game was April 23rd at Toronto.
Well, Buck Showalter well aware that young players are going to struggle offensively. As long as they can hold their own defensively, and Jonathan Schoop has. He's been asked to do a lot out there. Played some third early in the season, but playing a very solid, exciting second base, turning some real good big league double plays. Some gravy there with the home run, swinging the bat a little bit better here recently.
So Clevenger is still battling here. There's Brandon Kinsler getting loose. Darren O'Day and Brad Brock in the Orioles pen. And Clevenger doing a real good job covering that outside corner.
Yeah, fighting off some tough pitches, really throwing everything in the book he's got at him. Clevenger battling.
Nobody out here in the 7th. Hard hit ball, foul down the line. What an effort by the ball person down there. The ball boy came up empty, but he gets a nice ovation.
Wow. Mel Clevenger hits a bullet. Oh, almost a great diving play. He did have good extension there. Good try. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, the Brew Crew. Outside. Ninth pitch in this at bat coming to Clevenger, and the count holding now 1-2. And another foul ball. Clevenger's got a 2-game hitting streak going, but he's just 3 for 23 over his last 7 games. Loesch and Lucroy are saying, all right, what do you want to try now?
Yeah, just freezing him a little bit, you know. I mean, Clevenger's following everything in the book. He's got throwing up there, changeups, breaking balls, 2-seamers. It's a little mound visit, give Loesch a little breather. And also kind of freeze Clevenger a little bit. Make him start thinking. See if he can catch him in between. We saw Loesch season high, 110 pitches, up over 100 right now. Pitch track. A lot of pitches thrown all over the zone.
Weak ground ball towards second. And charging is Jeanette. He gets it to first, and they finally get Clevenger on the 10th pitch. One away here in the 7th. Here's Nick Markakis, who is 1 out of 3. He singled and scored in the 3-run third. And a ball 1 low. Strike in the outside corner. A little late call there by Woodring.
Nick didn't like it very well. See LaCroix back there really working well as far as how he's receiving a baseball. He's gotten a lot of calls for Loesch throughout this game.
Went back to the same area. Nick got that call, 2-1. Loesch has struck out 5. He has not walked the batter, and that has been a key in this game. Ball 3. Tillman walked 4, and 3 of them scored. Loesch has walked just 13 all season. Knicks ahead 3-1. And a borderline pitch got the corner, 3-2. Nick slices it to left field. Playing near the line was Davis. He'll have a play. And he's got it for the out and 2 away here in the 7th. Markakis 1 for 4. And here comes Ron Renicky out. An Oriole fan is outnumbered in that section. So Loesch will leave. He goes 6 2/3, and he has a 2-run advantage as he exits. So pitching change at Miller Park with the Orioles down by 2 in the 7th.
out of the ball game. 6 2/3 innings of work. The Orioles offense, pretty good job, pounding out 9 hits, 4 earned runs off him, but he helped himself by not walking anybody. Did have the 5 strikeouts, pitched himself out of a couple jams. 109 pitches on the afternoon for Kyle Loesch. Pretty good performance, and he continues to stay consistent. Brandon Kinsler coming into the game, 18 games this year, 1-2 record, 3.78 earned run average, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 16 2/3 innings of work. The opponent's hitting 279. Lefties he's holding to 143, but the righties, holy cow, 350 batting average off him. So righties are lining up. He's got a pretty good fastball, though, two-seamer, 90-93 miles an hour, and a slider that the righties will see. He's aggressive in the zone, really just the 3 walks this season, and traditionally a very low walk rate. Also has a changeup.
Manny Machado will take ball 1. So for Loesch, he can win, he can't lose. And it's the first game this year he has allowed more than 3 runs. But his team gets him 6, and he's still in line for a win. Bouncer towards short. Segura waits on it. And he gets Machado. So on 2 pitches, Kinsler ends the Orioles' 7th inning stretch in Milwaukee. Time for a snack. The Brewers have the lead. Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. And we hope you can join us tomorrow. More O's action. Game 2 in this 3-game series. Wei-Yin Chen will take the mound against Matt Garza. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 7:30 with O's Extra presented by Dodge. And then game coverage at 8 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN.
Oh, here's a look at tomorrow's starters. Wei-Yin Chen going after his 6th win. Wants to bring that earned run average down a little bit. Matt Garza had a couple wins on the season, 4.92 earned run average, but he has faced the Orioles before, 9-1 in his career versus the Orioles. Should be a pretty good game. Brad Brock now on for the O's, 5 games this season, 4.32 earned run average, giving up the 9 hits in 8 1/3. 8 strikeouts though in the 8 1/3 innings of work, 3 base on balls.
He will work to Braun, Lucroy, and Gomez here in the 7th, trying to keep this a 2-run game. Showalter's team in the 3rd inning scored 3 runs, but they stranded 2 and had 2 base runners thrown out at 3rd base. And Segura made a couple of fine defensive plays, one on a tag and one on a force with the bases loaded. Well, this bodes well for Milwaukee.
Yeah, highest winning percentage when scoring 4 or more runs. Nationals leading the way with that .955 winning percentage, but they're the Brewers. 26-2, .929 winning percentage. Padres, Braves, and Angels on that list. The Orioles, 17-7 record when scoring 4 or more runs.
Ryan Braun will lead off. He doubled a drive and a run in the first. He has since lined out to Machado and grounded out. Brad Brock in his 3 games since coming back from AAA, 6 2/3 innings and just 1 run allowed. And it's outside 1-0. Now in this inning here, you have a pitcher and a catcher who actually know each other. As both Brock and Hundley came from the Padres.
So there's one less arm Hundley has to learn.
Outside, ball 2. Brock last worked on Saturday, an inning and 2/3. In that game, he allowed a 2-run home run to Carlos Santana, and inherited runner scored, and Santana's run charge to Brock.
Well, Brad Brock's got really good stuff. He's had some experience at the major league level. Buck Showalter, Dave Wallace really like him.
Yeah, comebacker.
That ability right there. He's got a good 2-seam fastball, good velocity with it, 93 miles an hour on that pitch, and also the hard slider he can work down and away. And Buck really likes to build this bullpen and use these arms the right way. Unfortunately, there have been some shorter outings where pitchers have had to be extended a little bit out of the O's bullpen. There's a lot of good weapons, and Brad Brock is one of them.
Jonathan Lucroy has flied out, popped up, and walked and scored. Fastball's high. Well, with Tillman going 5 2/3, the Orioles now have 26 starts of less than 6 innings, 23 of at least 6 innings. But they only have 11 of 7 or more.
And that's been tough on the Orioles bullpen.
The last starter to go at least 7 innings was Bud Norris in Kansas City on May 17th, and that was a game he lost 1-0. Orioles didn't score. So this will be an 8th consecutive start without a starter going 7 innings. Orioles don't have a day off until next Monday, so the innings really begin to be felt by the relievers. Two and 2 on Jonathan Lucroy. To Stope at second base. Jonathan gobbles it up with that Manny Machado glove he wears. 2 down.
Now that's the gold Manny Machado glove, and Manny, of course, dons the platinum glove.
Hey, you can have this one.
Yeah, right.
Well, Bobby Dickerson And Wayne Kirby have been trying to get Jonathan to switch gloves. He used that real small second baseman's glove. And they felt with a little bit larger glove like the one Manny has that he'd have a chance to make more plays and be more sure-handed. And sure enough, he got the glove from Machado and began enjoying it and liking it. And he ordered the exact same glove with his name on it. But for now, Schoop is wearing a glove that says Machado.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think the glove that Jonathan Schoop used prior is a great tool for him because he knows where the ball is in his glove. So the only thing a longer glove will do, because he will probably catch the ball consistently in the same spot. When you use a small glove, you're forced to catch it in the same spot. All a bigger glove is going to do is give you the ability to extend and make tougher plays. If you dive, give you that extra inch or two, maybe knock the ball down.
Two and one on Carlos Gomez. And a high fly ball to left. Cruz was very deep, comes charging in. And Nelson gets there and he has it for the out. Brad Brock is a 3-up, 3-down inning. We'll head to the 8th. Birds come to bat down by 2.
And you are the real heroes. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Steve, on this Memorial Day. And thanks so much to all of our military. Steve pinch hit at a long at bat but grounded out. So his work is done for today. As we remember all those who gave their lives for our freedom. Adam Jones will lead off. Kinsler stays on. Cruz and Pierce will follow. Adams had a good day. Single, 2-run triple, and a run scored. His 17th multi-hit game. Markakis leads the team with 18. Outside 1-0. Now this is the heart of the lineup coming up. You have 3 straight home run threats plus Hardy following Pierce in the inning if somebody could get on. Adams shows bunt. Reynolds was deep. Yeah, Adams thinking that. Let me get on. Let Cruz try to hit me in.
Yeah. Well, Adam well aware of Mark Reynolds at third base playing deep. And Adam has that great ability to bunt. He's not doing it to try to draw Mark Reynolds in. You know, he will take a step or two. You see that.
And there's a strike at the knees, 2-1. Line towards the middle. The pitcher, Kinsler, lost his glove, but right there is Scooter Gennett.
Good positioning defensively. This ball whistled right back up the middle. And it ran in and broke the bat. But you see the glove go flying. He's just like, what the heck just happened there? Wants to get the glove there, but actually throws it off his hand, trying to knock it down. Gennett right there to make the play.
Here's Nelson Cruz. He's got an RBI with a double. 1 out of 3 overall. Popped up foul down the right field line towards the stands. It goes, and it's back out of play. So Cruz has life and a 1-1 count. Nelson homered yesterday for his league-leading 16th. Umpires have the military hats on as well with their MLB logo. One and two on Cruz.
Nelson Cruz has been so impressive. And the numbers kind of speak for themselves, but just his discipline at the plate, his quiet feet. He never really overswings. I mean, he battles when he gets to 2 strikes, but just a quiet, limited head movement. Trust his hands and lets that barrel fly.
And a good take there as he wouldn't chase. Welcome back to the veterans. Major League Baseball charities.
Tough pitch right there. 93 miles an hour just running in. Cruz fouls it off and gets a piece of himself. That back foot, I think. It's a time to shake it off. Here it is. Look at that late movement. Bounces off the dirt and then catches him on the shin. You see the face grimacing in pain there.
And low again, ball 3. Of course, Cruz at one time was in the Brewers organization, but not for long. Just a year and a half. He was acquired following the 04 season, so he was here in 05 and 06, but in July of 06 he was traded to Texas. He got only 8 major league games in with Milwaukee. And he fouls it off. Thank you to all who have served and continue to serve. Hashtag Memorial Day. Thank you, Nelson. Twitter chatter. About to see the 9th pitch in this at bat, trying to get on and get the tying run up. And he fouls it off again.
Well, Nelson really fouling off some tough pitches. Good pitches being made down in the zone. Pretty firm fastballs with some late movement, trying to wait out a mistake. He just missed that one. Probably the best pitch to hit. See the pitch track, just peppering the bottom of the zone, and there is movement on all those pitches as well.
So another 3-2 pitch to Nelson Cruz. And he walked it. Oh, what an at bat. 10 pitches. And Cruz was at 1 and 2 after 3 pitches. That's the first walk allowed by Milwaukee pitching.
And that was a sensational bat by Nelson Cruz, really seeing the ball well, fouling off some tough pitches. Good patience. There you go. Tying run at the plate.
So here is Steve Pearce, who now represents the tying run. And it's low. Well, this is interesting, Mike. Highest slugging percentage players with at least 50 plate appearances, but fewer than 100.
Yeah, Steve Pearce on that list at .561 slugging percentage. He has been on fire for the Orioles, really taking advantage of his opportunities.
Reynolds to second out there, back to first. There's a double play. And there goes the possible rally as Pearce bounces into a 5-4-3. Bottom of the 8th coming up, 6-4 Milwaukee. Of course, you're going to have cheese on your snack in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah, loaded up. Yummy. Maybe dip a brat in there as well.
What are those, nachos? I guess so. Bowls of nachos. And yep, come on, get more cheese. A little more. And this crowd on hand for this holiday game. Brad Brock, a 3-up, 3-down 7th. Oriole relievers have faced 4 batters, retired all 4. He'll go to work on Mark Reynolds. Scooter Gennett and Chris Davis are then due. For the Orioles in the 9th, down by 2. J.J. Hardy, Nick Hundley, and Jonathan Scope are due up. And the strike taken by Reynolds. And down to the count 0-2. Reynolds has never faced Brad Brock. And a foul tip in and out of the glove of Hundley. Milwaukee closer Francisco Rodriguez getting loose.
Yeah, he's done a dynamite job for them. As the closer. Really the whole pitching staff. I mean, this Milwaukee team, there's a reason why they're one of the best teams in the National League. I mean, offensively they have some powerhouse potential, some dynamic offensive players. Pitching has really led the way, starting and the back end of that bullpen. Nice job by Brock there, finishing Reynolds off with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Great location.
With 4 in a row retired by Brad. Here's Scooter Gennett, who was hitless on the day. Left field, down the line. That ball's trouble if it's fair. It is in the corner, and it's a fair ball. Cruz will play it back in, and Gennett has a 1-out double.
Well, pretty good swing here. Pulling the hands in. Gets the barrel on it. Just keeping it fair down that left field line. Picking up his first hit of the game. It's a double. It's a big double. Brewers offense want to create a little more separation. Brad Brock wants to get this offense back in there, give him a shot at the closer.
Chris Davis has had a good day. Got a rally going with a 1-out walk in the 4th and then homered in the 6th. Strike 1. Just outside, 1-1 to count on Chris Davis.
A healthy rip right there. Chris Davis, that solo home run. The bottom part of this Brewers lineup, pretty productive. 4 runs scored. Bottom 3.
1-2 on Davis. Big run out there at second base. And just outside. Grounded towards the hole. Machado knocks it down, and Hardy won't have a play. Machado got to it, but couldn't glove it. Davis has pretty good speed. They might not have gotten him anyway, but Hardy had no chance.
Now he goes down and gets this. Manny reaching out, but just off the end of the glove. Slows it down, then Hardy. Nice reaction. Good job getting there. Just couldn't quite corral it. Maybe overstretched with the glove as it hits off the pinky finger.
So Gennett goes to third with Davis, an infield hit on at first. And here's Overbay. Homered his last at bat. He also walked and scored in that 4th inning rally.
Overbay, you saw what he could do with a mistake. That solo shot back in the 6th inning, so you got to be careful. Brock's done a nice job keeping the ball down in the zone. Good opportunity for a ground ball here.
Ricky Weeks is on deck to bat for the pitcher. They're going to bring Rodriguez in anyway, so they'll get a batter up there. And a little bit low. 2-1 the count. First and third and one down. Ooh, borderline call, and Brock got it.
Oh, good pitch. And Nick Hundley's done a nice job framing back there, really catching the ball well. Take a look at the pitch track. Locking it up, down and away. Good glove position, though, getting the call there.
Well, the count even at 2-2. Fastball away coming in, so to throw to first. Upstairs, ball 3. Brewers do a good job prolonging at bats. Davis will likely be running from first. He is going, and it's outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Brock at a big jab now. Bases loaded, 1 down.
And Dave Walls come out and talk to him about Ricky Weeks. See the numbers there, 304 batting average this season, a couple home runs and 7 RBI. Talk about working down in the zone. Brock's been good at that. Got good life with his fastball. This is when he needs to roll one up.
TJ McFarland now getting loose. Well, Ricky Weeks no longer the everyday second baseman with Scooter Jeanette's emergence. Ron Renicky had made the suggestion that maybe Weeks could help the team by playing some left field. And Weeks told the skipper, no thank you. I'm a second baseman. I'll play second base, but I'm not an outfielder.
Well,
swing and a miss, 0-1.
One day he may have to learn how to play second base. I mean, out of the outfield. Possibly with another team. I think managers appreciate players that are willing to do whatever it takes to help the ball club.
He's quickly down 0-2. Well, he had a bad year last year. He batted .209, just 10 home runs. Committed 10 errors in the field. He is the older brother of the Orioles' Jamiel Weeks, who right now is at AAA Norfolk. Bases loaded, only 1 down. And the 0-2 check swing, and it's inside. Weeks said he got hit.
That ball ran in there pretty good. And Weeks down 0-2. He wants to try to sell the hit by pitch. We'll see what happens here. And Renicky coming out to argue it. Take a look. 93-mile-an-hour fastball running in. That may have grazed him. Good job by Hundley to be able to hang on to that ball.
Weeks has an interesting contract, and now that he's not playing every day, it's working against him. If he doesn't get 600 plate appearances this year, the option for next year is voided, and it's for $11.5 million.
Ouch.
1-2 the count on him.
I think I'd learn how to play left field.
How many do I need? And foul back. Now this year he's had only 75 plate appearances, so he's got a lot of work to do. Jeanette, Davis, and Overbay third to first with one down. And he got him. Looked like a slider, and Weeks swung over it, so 2 men down.
Yeah, beautiful pitch. Great location. Consistent diet of 93-mile-an-hour fastballs and 85-mile-an-hour slider right on the outside corner. Nice call by Hundley. Great execution by Brock. Let's get the big strikeout with the bases loaded.
So he's an out away from getting out of the jam, and here's the pesky Gene Segura, who's had a big day. His 2-run double in the 4th got Milwaukee the lead. And a strike at the knees on 1.
The Orioles defense playing pretty much straight up. Well, he's gone coast to coast with his triple and double.
Hardy to Scope, and that ends the inning. Outstanding job by Brad Brock. He gets out of a bases loaded 1-out jam. Here we go. Buckle up. Rodriguez comes on. Birds come to bat, down by 2. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Coons. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Big crowd on this Memorial Day. Orioles come up in the 9th down by 2. And the closer for Milwaukee comes on. One-time Oriole, Francisco Rodriguez.
Yeah, and he's having a fabulous season here. This season with the Brewers, 1-1 record with a 1.80 earned run average. 17 saves in his 18 save opportunities. And last season with the Orioles, he was 2-1 with a 4.50 earned run average. Look at that, though. He's converted 27 of his last 28 save opportunities. So that is his role. He thrives in it. He's got a fastball that he throws in the low 90s, but it's his changeup that is his bread and butter pitch. Just a great arm sell. He's got a violent delivery, and that arm speed is fabulous. Tough to stay on the change.
He is 17 out of 18 in saves. And a high strike called, and it's 0-1. The Orioles got him from Milwaukee last July 23rd in exchange for infielder Nick Delmonico. He then became a free agent, was out there until early February when he finally re-signed with the Brewers. And the changeup had Hardy out in front. Tried to stay back on it. 0-2.
Rodriguez, a couple weapons. His changeup is his best pitch. Really hard to judge the off-speed offerings with that quick arm speed and just arms and legs flying all over the place.
Hardy towards left center field, but it hangs up for Chris Davis, and he's got it for the out and one away for the all-important first out in the 9th inning. Here's Nick Hundley in his first Oriole game, 0 for 3. And a little low, 1-0. Hundley has seen Rodriguez before with his days with the Padres, 1 out of 5 against him. There isn't an Oriole active that has faced him that has homered against him. And a little low for ball 2. Orioles need a base runner to get that tying run up. Well, 2-1 on Hundley. Outside, ball 3.
There you go. Any way you can. Base hit or a walk. Try to get a runner on base. There's Jonathan Scope with the home run earlier in this ball game. The solo shot. Really try to fight to get back to the top of this order.
And a chopper foul. Count goes full. Chris Tillman made the start today. Now watching with Wei-Yin Chen and Miguel Gonzalez. 5 2/3 innings and 6 earned runs. And a bouncer towards the hole. Reynolds' glove spins around and throws, and he got it.
Wow, that was a pretty good play by Mark Reynolds. We've seen him in an Orioles uniform make some pretty spectacular plays, but look at him flag this one down. That ball is behind him, and he just snatches it out of the air. The ball takes a hop, Super Bowl hop. Just a quick glove flip makes the play, the spinning throw. Pretty impressive defensive play there by Reynolds.
Orioles down to their final out. Scope has 2 hits and 3 trips, including his 4th home run. Deep left field. He's got another one. Back it goes and gone for Scope. It's a 1-run game.
I think Jonathan Scope is making some adjustments with some help from Nelson Cruz and some other veteran hitters on this Orioles team. Just sitting on a breaking ball. Picks up his 2nd home run. I think Nelson Cruz giving him a lot of information. It was the get me over breaking ball from Francisco Rodriguez, and Scope all over it. Back-to-back solo shots. Here it is. Just hanging up in the zone. He gets extended and crushes that pitch to left field. Dangerous hitter.
Davis with a leaping try, but that hit the wall behind the outfield wall. So Scope with a 3-hit game. Orioles are down by a run, also down to their final out. And here's Delman Young. And a base hit in the left field. So Delman gets one up in the zone, and he rips it in the left for a single.
And a nice swing by Delman Young. Really not getting a lot of playing time. Steps in there, sees one pitch, and rips it for a base hit. Now David Lowe into pinch run. Opportunity with some speed on the bases.
Now would Buck Showalter allow Lowe to try to steal, knowing that if he's caught, it's the final out?
Well, I think he might give Nick Markakis an opportunity to try to shoot that hole early, maybe with 2 strikes, give him a chance to steal.
Down and in, 1-0.
Rodriguez pretty slow to the plate, so there is an opportunity here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he lets Nick try to work that shifted infield with the hole open at first.
Overthrows for ball 2.
Well, he's overthrowing because of the speed at first base. Trying to be quicker than he normally works. Trying to get the fastball there in a rush.
Of course, with the speed of David Lowe, he could score on a gapper.
Yeah.
So he's probably just as effective there. Of course, if he's at second base, he could score on a single. There is a ball hit towards the gap in left center field, and that's going to get down for a base hit, and it goes all the way to the wall. David Lowe is flying around third. He will score, and we are tied. It's an RBI double for Nick Markakis, and the Orioles come charging back. 2 outs and nobody on, and it's a brand new game.
And there you go. Great call saying he could score from first base on a gapper. And Nick Markakis, he found a gap. And David Lowe showing that good speed, able to score. Take a look at the swing from Markakis, pulling the hands through, barreling it up, getting behind the baseball, hammering it out in the gap. David Lowe is off and running. Take a look at him go. He is low flying when he hits second base. All he's thinking about is scoring. Didn't break stride one bit. Scores easily from first, and now Markakis puts himself in scoring position.
And here's Manny. Good take, 1-0. What a game. Tell you what, Mike, we talked about this a lot a couple of years ago, but there's a mentality on this team until they're told that's it, 27 outs. They just keep going. They're sitting 2 outs and nobody on, and they've rallied to tie it.
Some good at bats, real good at bats at the end, sparked by Jonathan Scope's solo home run.
So can they complete it now and get a base hit from Machado to get Markakis in? You know, the Brewers, they've had a lot of chances, only 3 for 13. The O's are 2 for 6. Two 2-0 on Manny, likely to get a good pitch here. Ball 3. What effective use of the bench here by Buck Showalter. Young pinch hits, gets the hit. David Lowe, Mr. Lowe, take your legs out there. We need the speed. And that combo represented the tying run, and it scored. And then there's a 4-pitch walk.
Well, he's going to be careful to Machado, just to get a force at any base. But he has a dangerous hitter up right now. Adam Jones, one of the hottest Oriole hitters. Dangerous because he can expand the zone. And he has been on fire as of late.
So Rodriguez charged with his second blown save on the year. He is now 17 out of 19, and the Orioles coming back. And let's give a lot of credit to Webb and Brock. 2 1/3 scoreless innings of relief to give the Orioles this chance. So Adam with a chance now. Ball one.
Yeah, that one almost got away. We've seen a couple good plays by the catchers. And LaCroix, another jumping play on a rising fastball.
Chris Tillman now off the hook for a loss. He has pitched to a no decision. And we are back even. The Orioles now with 12 hits. Jones trying to get that go-ahead run in. And right now he is all discombobulated. Rob Wooten is up, right-hander.
Yeah, Rodriguez 20 pitches right now. And he cannot find the zone. 6 straight balls.
Jonathan Scope, a breakout game. 3 for 4 with a pair of home runs. He had not homered since May 7th, and he's got 2 in this game. 2-0 on Jones. High fly ball, center field. Back on it is Gomez. He's got to play, and he'll make the catch. So Rodriguez gets out of it. Jones had a pitch to drive, and he hits it deep. Jonathan Scope got it going. His second home run got him within 1, and Markakis brings in the tying run. We'll head to the bottom of the ninth. You must get 27 outs. Milwaukee got 26 outs. It was 2 outs and nobody on in that ninth. Scope hits the home run. Then Delman Young comes off the bench. Base hit. Low pinch runs to Markakis, drives him in. They got 26 outs. They didn't get 27. And now it's a 6-6 game as we go to the bottom of the ninth. And Mike, here is Darren O'Day.
Yeah, Darren O'Day has been so solid. Really a monster out of this Orioles bullpen. 20 games this season. .95 earned run average. A couple saves on the year. 19 innings of work. 16 punch outs. Opponents hitting .212 overall. Lefties at .292, but the righties way down to .167 against O'Day.
O'Day last worked on Friday. Scoreless inning against the Indians. Ryan Braun will lead off. Lucroy and Gomez. So 3 consecutive home run threats in the bottom of the ninth. O'Day in his last 12 games 1-0 with a save, and he's allowed just 1 run. So O'Day's job is to get this to the 10th. And it's low 1-0.
Well, Darren, no, he doesn't only just have quality pitches and a very unique delivery from the side, but he's a smart pitcher. He knows what hitters are looking for. He knows what to do to try to get hitters out, and he has had the ability this season to execute his pitches. I mean, a great job at locating all of them. Got that good two-seam fastball. Sometimes get some good sink action, the rising fastball, and of course that sweeping slider that he has incredible command of. He can either sweep it across the plate or he can limit the spin and actually have it back up.
1-1 on Braun, who took that breaking ball for a strike. And a bloop down the line, it fades foul. If the Orioles can get this to the 10th, Cruz, Pierce, and Hardy will come up. Buck Showalter and John Russell. They have 3 men left on the bench. Excuse me, 2 men left on the bench. Flaherty and Caleb Joseph. They used 2 men very beneficially in that 9th inning. 1-2 on Braun, leading off in the Milwaukee 9th. This is a good spot for O'Day. Generally, Mike, he's a ground ball pitcher. And when you're trying to get to extra innings, that's what you're looking for. Keep it in the park.
Yeah, especially up who he's got to face here, the heart of this Brewers lineup.
1-2 on Braun. And it's outside. Braun about to see his 6th pitch in this at bat. Center field, Jones in on it, still coming, and makes the catch. A lunging grab to take a base hit away and 1 away.
Nice play by Adam Jones right there. Good first step. Tough ball to read off the bat of Braun. Take a look. This is a great vantage point. Adam Jones. Quick break in. Nice shoestring running catch there. Good concentration. Beautiful play. Good closing speed by Adam Jones.
Jonathan Lucroy. Outside 1-0. A little bit high, ball 2. The thing about O'Day and his style, Mike, he'd prefer to get ahead. Every pitcher would, but he doesn't mind being behind a hitter if it means not giving in.
Sure, not at all. He likes to set up hitters throughout the count. And if he misses, he has go-to plans, backup plans.
That looked like a good pitch. Lucroy shaking his head, but it looked more that he was surprised by the pitch than where it was.
Yeah, that was one of those backup sliders. Catching the inside corner. And O'Day gets himself back into the count.
Outside for ball 3. Good pitch coming here with 1 down. Left field, Cruz in on it. He's not going to get it. A sinking line drive and a one-out single for Jonathan Lucroy.
He's had a real consistent year. This Brewers offense. Here's a spinning slider. Doesn't do too much. Doesn't get enough for the outside corner. LaCroix stays on it, picks up a single.
Well, here's Carlos Gomez, the cleanup batter. Chopper foul back at the plate.
One thing Darren O'Day can do is exploit some aggressiveness and aggressive hitters, because he does have the ability to throw to the top of the zone consistently and expand the plate with his slider. I think he knows how aggressive the Gomez is. Let's see if he tries to do that.
Bunt out in front of the plate. Hundley throws it away down the right field line. Stoke hustling after it and fires it back in. Wow. In his haste to get the speedy runner, he threw it away.
Well, it was a tough play. He didn't clear himself enough coming out from behind the plate. Gomez, a surprise attack with the bunt. You see Gomez running up the line. Might have been screened a little bit. Hundley launches it. Pierce trying to come down with it, but LaCroix kind of freezing at second base. Spin throw goes high. LaCroix thought there was going to be an out. He might have been able to score easily if he had been off and running.
So Herrera is going to pinch run now at third. Here's Herrera now representing the winning run.
Now, one thing you have to be aware of with National League teams is you have to be more heads up about the squeeze. Everybody does it in the National League, especially here in this part of the ballgame.
Mark Reynolds up. Line caught by Hardy, and they're going to get a double play. Herrera broke on contact. What a break for the Orioles, and we are going extras. Oh, Darren O'Day gets the soft line drive, and Herrera didn't watch where the ball went. We're going to the 10th in Milwaukee. fared very well, going 4-1 so far. Trying to get it done here after tying it with 2 in the bottom of the ninth after 2 outs and nobody on. So Buck Showalter and Bobby Dickerson, and Buck Showalter talking it over. Wayne Kirby and Dickerson, of course, the base coaches. So maybe a little extra strategy, and a new pitcher comes on for Milwaukee in the 10th.
Yeah, Rob Wooten now coming in. He's been in 15 games this year, a 2.40 earned run average, 15 innings of work. He does have the 13 strikeouts, just 4 base on balls. Got a good fastball, a little two-seamer that he throws 87 to 91, but slider is his pitch. Goes at 82 to 85 miles an hour, and that is his go-to. He's got a curveball and a splitter, but you're going to see him use that slider primarily.
We will face Cruz, Pierce, and Hardy, 3 consecutive long ball threats. So Cruz will lead off. New pitcher on, Rob Wooten. And Martin Maldonado, who's the backup catcher, comes on after they pinch ran for LeCroy. So that leaves 2 position players on the bench for Milwaukee. And a strike taken by Nelson Cruz to lead it off. The Orioles have Flaherty and Caleb Joseph left. The Brewers have Logan Schaefer and Irving Falou, who was just called up from AAA today. Nelson 1 out of 3 plus a walk in this game. And it's outside.
Well, 3 sliders in a row from Wooten to Cruz. His bench probably well aware of that.
Deep left field down the corner. Chris Davis is over, reaches up, and he made a running catch. Takes extra bases away from Cruz.
Pretty fine defensive play right there over the shoulder. Running catch. Nelson Cruz gets on this one, driving it towards the wall. Look at the concentration. Step away from the wall, reaching up. Wooten loves it.
So 1 down in the 10th. And here is Steve Pierce. He was hitless in 4 trips. Breaking ball for a strike. And a good take, 1-1. Preston Guillemette getting loose. Swing and a miss. Wooten out of North Carolina. And Pierce down on strike. Wow, he was badly fooled by that pitch and 2 away.
Well, that's his best offering, that hard slider. Little 3/4 breaker. Good tilt at the end. You see him working down and away, and boom, right at the end, right as it gets to the strike zone, it just disappears. Steve Pierce recognizing it a little too late, can't hold up.
Here's J.J. Hardy, who has a double and a single, so 2 for 4. And he'll take a strike. Batting average now just a tick below 300. And called strike.
And that curveball, just a little bit slower version of the slider that he throws.
Wooten played at college at the University of North Carolina, which is a tremendous program. And they went to the College World Series 3 consecutive years while he was on the team. He is also a Tommy John survivor. Underwent that, missed all of 2010, had the surgery, did the rehab, and then came back. And Hardy takes for ball 3. Zach has joined Gilmet just in case the Orioles get a run here. And the 3-2, swinging a high fly ball left field. Davis back on it, still going, off his glove and in play. And Hardy heads for second base. He may think 3, nope, puts on the brakes. Another fine effort by Davis, but that one couldn't stick in the glove.
Well, J.J. Hardy's had some great at-bats today, driving the ball all over the park. He almost got robbed here. He works the count to 3-2, gets one in the heart of the plate, and hammers it out there. Davis running it down. You see him taping that deep angle and just flashes the glove up at the end. The long outfielder glove. Ball stays in it, but it kind of acts like a little whip and whips itself out. Can't come up with the third out. J.J. Hardy in scoring position with a double. Second double of the ball game.
So the roof is closed. Sun, of course, is completely gone. Overcast outside. And here is Hundley, who was 0 for 4 in his Orioles debut. And he'll take a strike. Well, just like last inning, 2 outs and nobody on, and the Orioles start a rally. Can they complete it now and get the lead?
You know, Hundley would love to come up with a big hit here.
And left field, and that's going to be it for a base hit for Nick Hundley. Here comes Hardy. Here comes the throw towards the plate. He is safe at the plate. And the Orioles have the lead. Deja vu. 2 outs, nobody on, back-to-back innings, and the Orioles erupt.
A big hit for Hundley. J.J. Hardy showing the speed coming around third base. Take a look here. Another breaking ball. Now these Orioles hitters have to be sitting all over the off-speed pitches, but he stays through it. Big-time clutch hitting. It drops down. The ball taking Davis down that left field line. Bobby Dickerson recognizing that. The big-time send. Hardy sliding in safely.
So Hundley, who survived the throwing error in the bottom of the 9th, gets the base hit to give the Orioles the lead in the 10th. And here is Jonathan Scope. Ooh, up and in, wow.
A pretty dangerous pitch here. Hey, if a young kid takes you deep a couple times, all right to move his feet, but watch messing around up in the head and neck area.
Well, Gilmet has sat down, so the closer getting ready for the bottom of the 10th. And comes in with a slider, 1-1. Breakout game today for Jonathan. 3 for 4. 2 home runs in the game.
See the sun shining through now, making some shadows out on the field. Might be a little tougher for the hitters to pick up that breaking ball.
And a high fly ball to left field, way up there. Chris Davis waits, and he's got it for the out, and the inning is over. But the Orioles strike after 2 outs and nobody on. A double by Hardy and a base hit by Hundley. Bottom of the 10th coming up.
Percentage in games decided by 1 or 2 runs, while the Brewers leading the way with a .640 winning percentage, 16 wins, just 9 losses. Orioles on that list as well, 4th, 15-11 with a .577 winning percentage. And the O's in Milwaukee, 10-6 in 1-run ball games, both tied for 3rd in the major league. So pretty good teams here playing in tight ball games. And now the Orioles with that 1-run lead, thanks to Hundley, the big single driving in J.J. Hardy with a 2-out RBI. Zach Britton now in the ballgame, 20 games this year, 3-0 record, .68 earned run average, 26 2/3 innings of work. Opponents hitting 156, lefties 179, righties 137, and he has just been dominant all season long. Right now riding an 11 straight scoreless appearances and 11 2/3 innings of work. Zach Britton has been on top of his game.
Well, Zach will go to work on Scooter Gennett, a left-handed batter, then Chris Davis, a right-handed batter, then Lyle Overbay, a left-handed batter. And now, once again, the sun is back. So you do have the contrast out there in the middle of the diamond. And it's low, 1-0. Zach got a save in yesterday's game. And into Scope. Plays the hop. 1 down in the 10th. Britton might 11 consecutive scoreless appearances. In that time, a win and 2 saves.
Yeah, he has been dominant. Really trusting that fastball now, knowing that he can just throw it down in the zone and let it go to work. 95, 96 miles an hour consistently, and he has incredible life as it approaches the plate. I mean, he can cut his fastball and sink it. Very rarely are hitters able to get the barrel and square up one of his fastballs that are down in the zone. A lot of weak ground ball contact.
Ball 1 to the other Chris Davis. Well, that tells it all. Lowest ERA of all relievers in the American League. Davis has had a perfect day. He has doubled, he has walked, he has homered, and an infield hit, and he has scored twice. That ball moves so much, even when they think they have it squared up, it doesn't always hit the barrel.
Yeah, and it's because of the late movement, really. I mean, there are a lot of pitchers that have movement on their fastballs. The later you can get it to the move on the plate, the better you're going to be, and that's exactly where Zach Britton is. I mean, that ball's coming in looking like it's a hittable pitch and then disappears about 2 feet out in front of the plate.
And it's 2-2. Orioles are 2 outs away, trying to close it out. Bucs team was down to its final out, down by not 1 run, 2 runs in the top of the 9th, and they rallied the tie. And time requested there by Hundley at the plate. Oh, just got a piece.
I don't know how he did. 96 miles an hour. Makes it even tougher with Britton's short arm delivery and really just picking up the baseball. So there is deception to go along with the velocity and movement.
So Davis battling here. And a line drive to center field. He hung the breaking ball. So the tying run is on. The winning run comes to the plate with 1 down in the 10th.
You wonder sometimes why would you even throw a breaking ball when you have that good a fastball? I mean, 96 miles an hour moving all over the place. Why even waste the time? I mean, sure, you might want to change a guy's look, but Davis wasn't looking like he was on his fastball at all.
Well, if you're going to change his look, you don't want to change his look right over the plate.
Yeah, with a hanging breaking ball. But I don't even think you have to change your look if you're executing your fastball the way Zach Britton is.
Well, here's Lyle Overbay. And it's low, 1-0. Again, ball 2. So the last 2 hitters both got ahead, 2-0.
Overbay already a couple walks in this ball game. Very patient at the plate. Doesn't have the average going this year. He's a veteran hitter. A great understanding of his own strike zone.
And 3-0. Chris Tillman started 5 2/3 innings, 6 earned runs. And right there for a strike. 3 2/3 scoreless by the bullpen so far. Britton needs 2 more outs. And he walked him. So the tying run goes to second. The winning run is on at first, and only 1 down. Irving Falou, just called up today, will pinch hit. Orioles remember him from Kansas City. So the tying run is at second. A base hit could get this even. And the winning run is at first. And there's a strike as he gets ahead.
That's a key. That's a key for all starting pitchers. Try to get ahead. Because most pitchers have some pretty quality, effective pitches. But throwing strike 1, and then the hitter will tend to expand on his own. Zach Britton talked about the great movement.
Down and away, 1-1. This season in AAA, 288, a homer, 8 RBIs. He was a non-roster player in spring training, now back in the bigs. And a bouncer towards the bag. Scope has it. Out there, back to first. Double play, and the ball game is over. And the Orioles with a huge win in this opener, coming back. 2 in the 9th to tie, 1 in the 10th to win. And they grab the opener of this 3-game series. What a day for the Orioles as they pull it out. Well, we hope you can join us again tomorrow. More O's action, game 2 in this series. It'll be Wei-Yin Chen on the mound. He'll go against Matt Garza. Our coverage will begin at 7:30 Eastern Time on MASN 2 with O's Extra, presented by Dodge, followed by game action at 8 o'clock. And now for Mike Bordick, this is Jim Hunter.